Unlock dust from hard-to-reach places with the Swiffer Duster. Love it or your money back.
Are you in charge of running the building maintenance plays at your workplace? If you're facing roofing issues, you gotta get RoofWorks into the game. Hi, this is Holly with RoofWorks. You can count on us to be your MVP when it comes to taking care of your commercial building roof. We handle leaky roof repair, coatings, total replacements, upfits, and we even do commercial gutters. Let us show you what a valuable addition we are to your building maintenance team. Contact us today online at roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
Hey everybody, Paul Ihander from 99.9 The Fan for FanDuel. The NBA is back, and FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, wants you to catch all the action. Right now, FanDuel is giving everyone 3 months of NBA League Pass. All you have to do to catch every tip-off and buzzer beater is place any $5 bet on the NBA to get 3 months of NBA League Pass courtesy of FanDuel. Just visit FanDuel.com/Paul. Again, FanDuel.com/Paul, and make every moment more this season. Dunks, three-pointers, alley-oops, you know what I'm talking about. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA. 21 plus and present in North Carolina. After 3-month free trial, the full price of League Pass will be automatically charged monthly. Cancel anytime. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Whether it's the future of college football or my love for the Ryder Cup, it's all found in the Best of the Adam Gold Show podcast, brought to you by Coach Pete at Capital Financial Advisory Group. Visit us at capitalfinancialusa.com.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com. WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs. This is the Adam Gold Show.
The Heels will keep it on the ground. Hampton back in there. This time he gets to the line. Hampton's at the 15. Hampton pinballing off of Seminoles for 6. Touchdown, Carolina. Hampton to the house. Here's a shovel pass to Hampton, and he's free middle of the field. 25, angling to the near sideline, and for the 5th time today, Hampton's into the end zone. Touchdown, Carolina.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Voice of Jones Angel, Tar Heel football. Maury and Hampton doing work. Welcome to the Adam Gold Show. That is Victoria. I'm Adam.
Yeah, it's Tuesday.
Nothing going on today at all.
No, but there is hockey.
There is hockey.
Hockey in Carolina.
Thankfully, there is hockey.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Oh, I am very excited too.
Because today I also get to go with my dad, so I
That's
get
right.
to do it from I'm always from the fan perspective, but now I can be loud.
Yeah, it's true. That is like, I make no bones, so I don't usually sit with the normal press
Us
during
other media
games.
people.
Right. Because I do intermissions.
You've got stuff.
So I'm in the radio booth, which is when the Mike and Trip are on TV.
Mm-hmm.
The radio, it's just me in the radio booth.
Yeah.
And our on-site engineer, John Brockwell. And so I'm there by myself, and occasionally, like every once in a while, Graham, who sometimes sits in for you. Nobody can fill in for you, by the way, but occasionally sits in for you. Graham will hang out and watch the game there occasionally, but for the most part, I'm just there by myself, and I'm not loud. I don't scream. Yeah. I do make comments if I'm not tweeting.
It's hard not to.
Right, but I will. I am not above a fist bump and a cheer.
Right.
I'm not above that.
No.
Now, if you're sitting out with the normal press, the regular working press, which I don't mean that as in any way slight, then you probably, decorum is probably the better way to go.
Keep it stone-faced.
Just go, pretty low-key. But I am not one of these people who says you cannot cheer in the press box. Have at it. Just be cognizant of others around you.
Right.
It's really all it's about.
I may or may not have accidentally sitting on that press row where I try to keep stone-faced in the playoffs in the past.
Different.
Sometimes it sneaks
Different,
out.
yeah.
That last-minute goal that we need to win the game. Sometimes.
Right. I actually do remember in the first game of the series against Florida 2 seasons ago, it was the first overtime.
Yeah.
And who knew that we were going to be needing a fourth?
Right.
Gosh, I still can't believe that. Seth Jarvis right out, in the slot with Bobrovsky down, and Seth has 2/3 of the net above a sprawled out Bobrovsky wide open, and he clanks off the crossbar.
Oh, yeah.
And at that point, I did scream something. Fortunately for me, by the time we got to that part of the playoffs, I was in this soundproof booth.
Oh, that's helpful. That's
right?
good. Mm-hmm.
Because I had to be ready just in case the game ended suddenly.
Yeah.
I was in that booth down the way, which has a glass window. I was watching from in there when I saw Seth clank it off the crossbar. Nobody could hear what I said, which is probably a good thing.
Right.
So, yes, hockey tonight. I'm excited. It serves two purposes. One, Hurricanes get back on the ice. Chance to go to 9-2. Philadelphia is not very good, but I would caution people to think that this one and Thursday against Pittsburgh are cakewalk. Cake wins, baby. I would just say that, in the NHL and in professional sports, if you take that attitude, you're going to get beat.
Yeah, it'll bite you.
Right? The other team gets paid too. So I wouldn't be completely shocked if the Hurricanes lost to Philadelphia or lost to Pittsburgh. They are clearly better than those two teams, but take nothing for granted.
Yeah.
And that goes for voting too.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't voted yet, go vote.
Yeah, today's the day.
Take your transistor radio. Nobody has one of those anymore. Take us with you.
Yeah, which is now just your phone. So that
That
works.
is true.
Yeah, you can take
That
us
is
with
true.
you on
We
your
have
phone.
apps and everything.
Yeah.
You can even pull up the YouTube and take us on YouTube.
Right, and
Hi,
watch us.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Yes, by all means, subscribe, share, rate, like, whatever you have to do, and then go do your civic duty.
Yeah.
And
get your
and
sticker.
vote.
I got my
Yes.
sticker. I haven't posted it on social media, so did it not happen if I didn't post it?
You're talking bad about you. Are you?
No.
Was that
did
that
you do
meant
that?
for
No,
somebody?
I feel like I need to post it. Everybody posts like the picture of the I voted sticker. I didn't.
I
so.
think I did, but I don't have the photo, so maybe I didn't.
Maybe. I don't know.
It's very possible I just took the photo and then tweeted it out, but didn't save it into my photos.
Could be.
Is that possible, or did I delete? I may have deleted the photo. I really don't know. I'm pretty sure I did. We did it on the first day of. We voted the first day of early voting.
Oh, good.
Which was like almost 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago.
I know.
Yeah, there were a lot of people there. Do you know? I don't know how many people are in the state of North Carolina. We're talking about. We're going to talk about sports. I promise. However many people there are in the state of North Carolina, there's like 10 million.
10.84 million as of 2023.
Almost half. Kid you not.
We're voting the day.
4.5 million have already voted before today.
Okay.
Early vote.
No, I'm one of
Almost
those.
half the state of North Carolina has already voted.
I knew we'd be busy today.
The early, whether it's mail-in or early vote, nationally, was over 83 million.
Wow.
Which is more than half of the people who voted entirely in the last election. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Look at the country
Applause,
go. Yes.
Applause for America.
That is good.
Yes, go cast your ballot. All right,
Yeah.
Are we ready?
Let's go.
All of my Stormwatch and intermission reporting today will be dressed in election theme.
Nice.
So
there you go.
I just warn you ahead of time. All right, let's get to the Hurricanes, who are taking on the Philadelphia Flyers tonight at Lenovo Center. Pyotr Kochetkov has played well. I thought his game against Washington. And I talked about this on the podcast, Canes Corner podcast, available wherever you get your podcast. We do it live on YouTube. Usually drops about 45 minutes after we're finished with the game. We got to get through some things, including the post-game show on the radio, and then we get to the podcast on YouTube. We're big in Latvia, by the way.
Oh, interesting.
Huge in Australia and Latvia and Finland, and I found out Saudi Arabia.
Okay, fun little fact.
There you go.
Maybe because you would talk about cricket.
Could be, yes. Yes, certainly in Australia they would be very interested in that. But I thought that this was the best game I had seen Pyotr Kochetkov play, not because he was spectacular, he didn't get a ton of work, but because he was more solid and steady. Yes, he made big saves at big times, but he was just more solid and steady than anything else. And I thought for what I would be looking for as Rod Brindamore, the fact that he wasn't all over the place really spoke to me.
Yes.
Like the first save he made in the game where somebody's coming in a breakaway, and rather than go all full Pyotr Kochetkov, he just played it straight up. And he used his stick to shut down the 5-hole, the opening between his pads, and that was that. Simple. He made the save look easy. And when you could do that, that speaks to the head coach. And I thought from that point, I loved every aspect of his game. One of the goals was not on him at all. Actually, I'm saying none of the goals were on him. Ovechkin on a 5-on-3, and then the fluke goal that happened right before the end of the first. So Kochetkov again tonight. And Hurricanes have used the exact same lineup. This is game 11. Same players.
Wow.
For the first 10 games. I don't know how many teams in the NHL have not changed their lineup at all.
Right.
Through 10 games. That is, in some ways, good fortune. No injuries. But also, it speaks to this is our group. They have players they could call up, but this is our group. And one of those is Jackson Blake, the rookie who has played very, very well. All right, so tonight will be the first ever college football playoff rankings. Now, I'm not going to watch it because I will otherwise be occupied
We'll be busy.
Yes, with the Hurricanes and the Flyers. But I am curious. I wrote my 12 down. We're going to talk about this later on with Andrea Adelson of ESPN. She covers college football in the ACC. I don't have a second ACC team in my field. I don't have Clemson in it. Miami, obviously, right now, they're the favorites to win the division. I don't have SMU in it because basically they haven't beaten anybody. Right? So I know they're whatever and won, but they haven't beaten anybody yet. They beat Pitt.
Yeah.
That's a good win, but I still don't have them in. I wouldn't have Indiana in if Indiana wasn't lossless. No losses. They have a 0 in the L column. So, to me, I gave Indiana the 11th spot, right in front of Alabama, strangely enough. So we'll talk to Andrea Adelson later about, is the ACC in trouble? Are they about to only get one team in this field? I mean, you could have a bunch of good teams, but you got to be really in the top 11 to get in. Actually, Boise State might be higher than that when it's all said and done. College basketball began last night.
It did.
You sounded depressed.
Well, I didn't watch any of it because I was watching the footballs.
Okay, that's fine. I watched football later on.
Yes.
I got to football later. But I watched I would say most of the first half of Duke, and then life took over.
Right.
And here's what I saw. Look, we're gonna get John Shire's thoughts on Cooper Flagg in a minute. But nobody is saying that Cooper Flagg will not be the best player on Duke and possibly the best player in the ACC if it's not R.J. Davis. But let me tell you something. Con Knippel is going to be a problem for the rest of the ACC. That dude can ball. He is an incredible shooter. He is more than a shooter. He can drive. He can use both hands. That is going to be a fun watch. That team has a lot. They will have to figure out on the fly how to make a lot of young players work. But the three, veteran transfers, Sion James, who came in from Tulane, played well. I thought Malik Brown played well. Mason Gillis played well. By the way, the two of those three hit a few threes. That is a deep team with reserves if they need who might not play. I mean, they have got a lot of weapons. It was cool to see him. But here's Shire on the flavor of the year, Cooper Flagg.
That's who Cooper is, and I'm proud of him for, just impacting the game and playing every possession. And he was giving it everything he had. I think that's great that he can admit and say that he was emotional. I think that's natural. I think anybody is for their first game, let alone the fact that he's playing Maine, where he's from, where his mom went. But again, I thought he did, to lead us in assists, rebounds. I thought he was close to having 25 tonight, honestly, with some of those finishes, a couple open shots. That's going to fall. I think the thing that's exciting for him is just, for me, I should say, watching him, is just how he makes everybody better and how he plays every possession. So I thought it was a really good night for him.
Yeah, 18.7 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals for Cooper Flagg. The shot wasn't falling. He might have been a little keyed up for the game. Who knows? He's only 17. He will not turn 18 until December. But he's obviously dynamite. His brother, he and his brother are in the same year. I don't think they're twins, but they're in the same year of school, of high school.
Okay.
But Cooper Flagg reclassified, finished school early, enrolled in Duke. His brother is going to go to Maine. That's where his mom went to school, and they played Maine last night. Carolina played Elon, and with 7 minutes left, Elon was leading. What? Huh? Yeah, 71-69.
Starting off with a bang.
Elon was leading. Hubert Davis on what he told his team.
We've talked about at practice how we're going to react, how we're going to respond, and we said from a defensive standpoint, we have to be sound and disciplined. We've got to get stops. We've got to finish the defensive possession with gang rebounding. And then on the offensive end, you got to take care of the basketball. We got to get shots and get the shots to the guys that can make shots. And I thought we were really intentional about doing that. I think we went on an 11-0 run. And from that standpoint, for the first game, there's a lot to learn.
By the way, most of that 11-0 run and the rest of the game was R.J. Davis. And that's what you're going to get from somebody like R.J. He's one of the best players in America, 24 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. Wasn't a great shooting night, but doesn't matter. R.J. Davis will make the shots when you need him. We've seen him long enough to know what he's all about. Absolutely love him as a player. I'm not, I don't care about these openers. As long as you win them. I don't really care about the openers. Duke got out-rebounded by Maine. Not caring about that right now. And I'm not worried about North Carolina. If some people are going, how were we losing? But, maybe Elon's good. We don't know. We have no clue what Elon is about. But I'm not worried about North Carolina. Now, something, and will serve as, in some ways, an apology. There was a lot of stuff to talk about yesterday. The Panthers won their second game of the year. Felt like first. Bryce Young won his first game of the year. First time ever as a pro using the victory formation. We saw Bryce smile for the first time in a long time.
A legit smile.
Yeah. Nothing that looked like gas.
Right.
It was like, oh, that's a real smile.
Is this corn in my teeth?
Well, yeah. So we were kind of caught up with that, and the Hurricanes won again, blah, 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 all of that. So yesterday with the start of college basketball season, we talked to Mike DeCourcy about it, but we sort of broad brushed it. And we didn't really dig into Duke or North Carolina State. And so let this serve as an apology. And I talked about it this morning. Victoria, you said you had talked to Travis this morning from WFNZ in Charlotte. And I go on with those guys every Tuesday morning. And I said to them, we were talking about the opening night for all three schools. And again, this is my fault for not bringing this up yesterday. The ceremony to raise 2 banners at NC State it should not be lost. We have 2 schools that share an area code that hang banners for breakfast, right? And we could get lost in the meaning of it. Not that they take it for granted. I'm not saying that at all. But it's almost routine for those 2 universities.
Right.
NC State had not hung a banner. Yes, I know they made NCAA tournaments, and they have noted that on banners in the arena. But that's not hanging a banner. They have not hung a banner since 83?
Yeah. It's a long time.
I think 83.
It was.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, or did they win the ACC in 87? Yeah, but it's been a long time. It's been a minute. And to hang an ACC championship banner and a Final Four banner, even if in many ways they were out of nowhere, because the truth is, if Michael O'Connell doesn't hit the 3 against Virginia to force the overtime or the second over, whatever it was, they're not going to any tournament. They're not winning the ACC tournament and not going to the NCAA tournament. But all of that happened, and then they went and won the ACC tournament, and then they went and got to a Final Four, beating Duke in both situations. So that ceremony had meaning, deep meaning. Maybe not. I mean, I'm sure it meant a lot to Kevin Keats. But think about all of the people you know who have been lifelong State fans, who, especially over the last 30 years, watching their 2 rivals down the street hang banner after banner after banner after banner, and they're not doing anything.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Right? And for what that meant to them, to those people, watching those 2 banners go up into the rafters. And I thought that was just a very cool thing. I will get a chance to see those banners tonight when I get over to the arena, or this afternoon, because I'll be over there in like 3 hours. Mm-hmm. So I just thought that was a meaningful thing that I should have brought up yesterday. But maybe it took me seeing it for it to resonate. And
yeah, we'll blame it on daylight saving time, too.
Congratulations to the Wolfpack.
Yeah.
I know they kicked South Carolina upstate all over the place.
They did great.
Yeah, they've got nice players. I saw a bunch of highlights of that game, and there's a lot of different players. I think Kevin Keats has a team he can definitely work with. There's a lot of interchangeability. I think there's some athleticism. It's going to be a fun team to watch, and good for Michael O'Connell for sticking around.
I know some people were concerned with the guys leaving, the older guys, but I don't think they need to be.
You can't keep them.
Yeah,
you can't. You have no
forever.
Choice. Those guys have to go. Wake Forest, by the way, also was a winner. No ACC losers last night. We can't say the same about the SEC. I think they lost 2 or 3 games to non-Power 5 competition. By the way, Gonzaga absolutely laid waste to Baylor.
Wow.
Yeah, laid waste to them. I mentioned that with Mike DeCourcy. Like, we only have one good matchup. And it was a blowout, like as big a blowout as some of these.
That was the late one, right? That you said was.
I was well asleep. I was well asleep. I got home from picking up my son, who was at basketball tryouts last night. We got home about 9:00. I made it 1 hour.
Yeah.
And then I passed out. I passed out like trying to read stuff for today.
Yeah.
Yeah. No chance.
Yeah.
No chance.
Done.
Passed out with my shoes on. All right. Today, the Carolina Panthers made a trade. You want to play? Oh,
they did.
Look at that.
They did.
We make a trade. All right, so Jonathan Mingo. Who? Yes, Jonathan Mingo, last year's second-round draft pick, a wide receiver out of Ole Miss, was traded to Dallas for a fourth-round pick. Think about this. Jonathan Mingo, who'd caught one pass in the last 3 weeks or whatever it is, was traded for more than Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson was traded. Remember, Carolina paid a lot of Deontay Johnson's salary. Deontay Johnson was traded for a pick swap. Basically, you moved up
15 spots. Maybe.
Probably not even that many.
Yeah.
Right? Because Baltimore's going to pick very late.
Yeah.
And the Panthers figure to pick very early. Mm-hmm. So really the gap will be determined by how many compensatory picks there are at the end of the fifth round. It could be 5 spots.
True.
We have no idea. But it'll probably be in the neighborhood of 10. That's what they got for Deontay Johnson, a better wide receiver than Jonathan Mingo. Why? Because Mingo, as a second-round pick, has A, a low salary, and B, certainly a lower salary than even Baltimore will have to pay Deontay Johnson, and B, another year left before you have to make a decision on him. So his contract, because he's a second-round pick, the Cowboys get to control him for another year. So maybe that's why. But here's this. Because it is a good trade. They got more for Jonathan Mingo than Jonathan Mingo really is worth. And maybe it's because you traded him to Dallas and you took advantage of a terrible general manager.
Exactly. Who also doesn't have their starting quarterback now for longer than they thought.
Oh, yeah. They're going to put him on IR with a bad hamstring.
And he's out for at least a few weeks, it says.
Yeah, I think he's got to miss at least 4, right? Yeah. So, Dallas is done. And, hey, that fourth-round pick could be pretty high.
Yeah.
That could be maybe top 12th.
Maybe.
Depending on how poorly they close. By the way, also good news for those people holding Washington winning the division tickets.
There's that.
But here's where this whole story smacks me in the face. Jonathan Mingo was the 39th pick in the draft last draft. Not this past draft, the draft before. So 2023. So in less than 2 years, the Panthers turned a high second-round pick into, we'll just call it, a mid-fourth-round pick. Now, while the trade today, good trade, great deal, Dan Morgan, it does beg this question. How could you get this so wrong? How could you have such a high pick and have... Let me just point out who was drafted after Jonathan Mingo. Javon Reed, wide receiver for Green Bay. By the way, Green Bay drafted 2 wide receivers after Jonathan Mingo. They're both better than Jonathan Mingo.
Yes, they are.
Dontavian Wicks was like a 5th-round pick.
Yep.
And he's better. Rashee Rice. Now, Rashee Rice had some other issues, but in terms of production, twice as many catches, 9 touchdowns. Jonathan Mingo has 0 touchdowns.
Goose egg.
Tank Dell. Oh, yes, Tank Dell.
It's funny, all these guys are on my fantasy team.
Yeah, Josh Downs, former Carolina guy. You'd think you had seen him before.
Right.
Decided, no, we don't want Josh Downs. Puka Nacua.
Oh, yeah, that one.
So, and look, there were other wide receivers taken after Jonathan Mingo that weren't good either. But the point is, when you a high second-round pick, those are the players you need to hit on if you want to be good. And hit on, by that, I mean starter, impact player. First-round picks need to be like we'll just use the term all-stars, okay? We don't have a Pro Bowl anymore. When you pick in the first round, you need to hit all-stars. In the second round, you'd like to, but you need impact starters. Third round, you want guys who can play. There's not a lot of that in the Scott Fitterer era at general manager. All right, I've gone too long. Sarah Civian is going to join us. I'm so excited for today. Sarah Civian, the first of our guests today. We're going to talk hockey and Canes and more with her next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
The Panthers finally won a game, but let's not forget who did it. Leading the team in tackles, a rookie, Damani Richardson. Leading the team in receiving, Jatavian Sanders, a rookie. Leading the team second in receiving, another rookie, Jalen Coker. Xavier Legette, another rookie, third. You have to let the young guys take over if you want to have success in Carolina.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here from my friends at Buffalo Brothers. I live and work on both coasts, travel the country, and there's nothing better than Buffalo Brothers. The best wings on the planet and half-price appetizers Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 6. Visit all 5 Triangle locations and ask for their great daily beer specials. And how about this special? Every Sunday, they have $6 Bloody Marys and $6.50 Jamesons. Dine in, carry out. BuffBrothers.com. Aw, man, now I want wings.
'Tis the season for family and friends. 'Tis the season for gifting. And 'tis the season for making holiday dreams come true. 'Tis the season for using the old-timey contraction 'tis. And 'tis the time of year for holiday scratch-offs. With over $85 million in total prizes, 'tis the best gift of all.
'Tis the season to gift endless joy with holiday scratch-offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.06 to 9.95. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products, so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. GI Bill, SkillBridge, and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. Everything for the exterior of your home, but it's also everything for the peace of mind of the customer. Talk to me about the trust factor and everything else that you guys offer.
I got to tell you, I think one of the biggest things for us is we don't take any payment from you for any of your home improvement needs until we're done with the project. I hear stories all the time about people putting down deposits with companies, 25, 50% of the project total overall, and they don't even know, they don't show up.
Right.
You've lost whatever percentage you put down, that's how much power you lost already. Right? So with us, you pay nothing until we're done. Typically we're not the least expensive, and we're certainly not the most expensive. You get 3 or 4 estimates, we're going to fall right there in the middle. But, you're going to have a warranty that's lifetime, transferable for 10 years on any of the products we sell typically. And we've been around since 1961. You can trust us. We've been around forever.
It is about trust, and I think you guys are the most trustworthy business that I know. Aluminum Company of North Carolina, aluminumcompany.com.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. He sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself.
For many military veteran caregivers, their caregiving journey starts earlier in life and lasts longer. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
This is Adam Gold.
We don't need Al Roker in a suit doing yoga.
No.
And Al, to his credit, recognized that and said, you know what? I am not getting into Warrior 2.
I'm stopping at Downward Dog.
There will be no, he didn't get to that. Like, heck no.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria's here. We talked to some of the best, funniest, smartest reporters all over the country. Obviously, we have a lot here. a lot of award winners that we talk to all the time here. We are highlighting 4 of the best today, all who happen to be women. See, women can cover sports. Sarah Civian, as good as there is covering the National Hockey League. The Civ Report, you've gone out on your own, the newsletter. How are you?
Adam, I am fantastic, and I got a shout out to everyone in Carolina because I have a little breakdown of who is subscribed already, and it's very, very heavily Carolinian. So part of my heart is always there, and it's always been where my creativity has lied.
Well, this is obviously it's our first Sarah Civian experience, and we're all smitten. So it stands to reason that this would be a hotbed of a Sarah Civian hive. By the way, I'll say hi to Bridget Condon for you later when she joins us to talk football. So
we're all over the place. She's in LA now, thriving, pregnant. We love to see it.
that is all of that is true. You guys all left me. I'm so upset about that. Let's get to give me because now that you're national and you're big time, give me your thumbnail on the first, I guess, 3.5, 4 weeks of the season.
Goodness, the Winnipeg Jets obviously stand out. It's like they're trying to prove they're more than Connor Hellebuck, even though that was enough on its own for him to be really good in net. They're scoring at an absolutely insane clip. You've got the Carolina Hurricanes, 8-2-0, and they have most wins in the East. The percentage checks out at least. The Rangers are on fire. The Bruins are bad. God, what else do we got? The Oilers are weird. The Flames are a dud, and I could go on, but I think that covers it for now. Yeah,
it's fun. We just saw the Boston Bruins here, and I went on with the guys in the fourth period on Sirius XM, and that was Carolina was great that night, so it might not have been Boston not being good, but I was alarmed at how slow and pedestrian the Boston Bruins looked, and I'm sure it's going over well on Sports Talk Radio there. But you mentioned the Hurricanes as at 8-2-0. The predictions of their demise seem to have been quite premature. And I asked Jordan Martinook about it, and he said he thought that the new guys, the players, especially I think we were really talking about the forwards at this point, the new guys came in and bought in immediately. And he thought that rubbed off on the rest of the team because it does look like vintage Hurricanes hockey.
I mean, it's just kind of the MO of the team and the MO of management that I think many in the national media fail to understand. It's like they are always seeking the biggest value from the least expensive people and seeing if it pans out. But sometimes these are people that are kind of reclamation projects that can have a really high ceiling. And when that's fulfilled, they look like the biggest steal on the market, and everyone's like, oh, props to Eric T. And here we are again, giving props to Eric T.
Yeah, no, and Jack Roslovic, who has 6 goals. Now, I don't anticipate Jack's going to get, 45, 50 goals this year. His career high, I think, is 22. But if he approached 25 goals, that would be it's like finding a $50 bill on the sidewalk for most people. But I think, because Martin Necas is off to this great start, I actually don't know that Eric Robinson isn't a big part of that start. Here's a guy they're paying $950,000 to on a 1-year deal, and I think he has been an incredible part of that line taking off.
Absolutely, and it's always like when somebody graduates, like your Seth Jarvis, who was making not that much money on his ELC. Now he's graduated to the big contract. It's like somebody else has to step up for this Canes team to work. And you look at it like this, you assume people with high PDOs are going to regress. And the Hurricanes are, sorry, there's a situation going on.
Apparently right so. I hope they're not coming after you.
The Hurricanes have the number 19 PDO in the league right now, which for the uninitiated is the combination save percentage and shooting percentage. So they're genuinely good with the underlying numbers, and it looks like they're going to have sustainable success because it's kind of up and down with the lineup. But also you got Jarvis and Necas, the players that need to be productive on. You got a good power play too. Everything's kind of even right now. So somebody like Eric Robinson would be thriving in a situation like this.
He has played great, and one of the things that I have noticed about him is that, one of the things that Andrei Svechnikov is really good at in retrieving pucks, Eric Robinson seems ideally suited to do that and is performing that role on that line. I know in the newsletter, the Civ Report, you wrote about Martin Necas, who I'm telling you, I think is poised for a crazy good season. He is motivated, and I don't think it's motivated in the wrong way. He is self-motivated to be great. What are you writing about when you're writing about Marty?
First of all, if you're saying that, I know it's legit. And I think it's because of some of the trials and tribulations he's had. Maybe he hadn't been mentally ready for a few years, and now it's like a good what I'm writing about right now is how this is the perfect opportunity for him, and how many on the outside looked at this roster and said, oh, the Hurricanes are going to take a downswing. But he looked at it and said, oh, finally I'm going to get some minutes. Finally, I'm going to be able to have the time and space that I need. Like, he plays like the magician. I'm not going to call him the magician, but I'm going to say that's a style of play with creating plays. And it's like you look at his assists this year, and they are so – he's not pretending to be somebody he's not, but he has matured. And consider that he's only 25 years old. And I think it's just maybe because I'm getting older and I turned 30, I'm looking at a Jack Hughes, and it took him a few years. I'm looking at Alexis Lafreniere. These guys, it's okay to take a few years to round out to the player that we're expecting you to be. And I do think with Rod Brindamore's help and with kind of the hardships he's gone through, he's ready to have this position.
I asked Jordan, I had obviously a very fruitful conversation with Jordan Martinook, apparently. I asked him about what he saw from Necas, and he said that it's just a little bit more direct. Necas, the 2 assists he had in the game against Washington were, I think, perfect examples of a different Necas, where he could have skated with the puck, which he used to do all the time. And it's breathtaking to watch him skate because nobody can catch him. But he just made 2 simple plays, and they both led to Orlov goals. Directly. Primary assist on both goals. To me, they were better than his goal in the game, which was a beautiful forehand, backhand upstairs over Lindgren. But I thought the 2 assists were more indicative of why Necas has taken his game to a good level.
Exactly, and that's exactly what the player he was billed at when the Hurricanes took him 12th overall. It's like he's going to make the assist. But I think in the past, whether it's the minors or whether it's junior, he has had the room and space to do those lofty plays. So it's like finally it's all coming together where it's like, get to the point, kid, and he can beautifully get to the point. It's like my writing career, right? Like you don't need to write 2,000 words, even if the 2,000 words are really good. Like, dumb it down. Not everybody's going to read that. Just get to the point, and you can still do it well. And that's what he's doing right now.
Sarah Civian, Too Many Men, the podcast, also the Civ Report, the newsletter on Substack. North Carolina loves Sarah Civian. North Carolina has good taste. We also have this goaltender, Pyotr Kochetkov, who can be all over the place at times, but has an incredible personality. And we can see the talent. He just needs to harness it. But he's another guy who's not, I think he's 25, takes goaltenders a little bit longer. He actually said, and other people have, I think Eric Tulsky said it on NHL Network, that he's ready to take the torch from Frederik Andersen. With as much time as Andersen is out, probably needs to happen. But that's pretty risky, but he has been good.
That's him, right? He's going to be risky. He's going to do those poke checks. He's going to make mistakes. And my thing with him is to get the best out of him, I think everybody just has to ride with it because, he was unfazed by Alex Ovechkin chirping him, right? He's like, that's Russians. That's what we do. I don't care. I think you have to give him his minutes and tell him. And I don't know, that's kind of like Rod Brindamore doesn't jive with like the entitlement of something like that. And you saw that with the Necas too. But there has to be a point where if you're the goaltender, which is the number one most important facet of the game, and it's the number one things the Hurricanes haven't been able to really hone in on when it comes to like the 3rd or 4th round, that you got to give them kind of a longer leash. And there's not really a choice right now with Andersen down. So we'll see what he can do. But I guess 5-1-0. That's pretty good.
He has been, like, he had a couple of games where I don't think we liked it, but I thought the game against Washington was exactly, maybe it wasn't spectacular, it didn't need to be, but it was exactly what Rod was looking for because he did make big saves, and he got Ovechkin late in the third period when Alex came down in a breakaway on the left side, and he just stuck the pad out and stopped the attempt. It was I don't even know if he gets a save because Ovechkin didn't even get a shot off. So I'd have to go back and check if it was a shot or if he just gets, I don't know, maybe he gets credit with the takeaway. I don't know. Sarah Civian, at Sarah Civian on Twitter, Too Many Men, the podcast, and the Civ Report on Substack. All right, so final thing for you. Other than the Hurricanes, is there a team or a player, because we have so many good young players now, that has caught your eye so far through a month?
I think Alexis Lafreniere of the Rangers, it's just like Nathan, where you're like, that's exactly what we've been waiting on for these players for years. And when they do it, it feels so satisfying and it really rounds up the team. I mean, the Rangers are always going to have kind of sustainability issues if Igor isn't the best player on the ice. So that's kind of a struggle, but I've really enjoyed that. I think I'm high on the Anaheim Ducks, even though they're starting to already regress. I think Lucas Dostal in net is really young, and he's shown really enticing ability. He's been great on all the whatever they say about the moneypuck.com analytics. I think, who else? I mean, I'm trying to think more Western in my brain, but nothing's really coming to mind there.
Yeah, but the Hurricanes are just out west. They just wiped the floor with all of them. That's not a big deal.
Exactly. The Senators kind of enticed. They're in a playoff spot right now, and their young players are finally coming together. So maybe that'd be like the sneaky team to watch. Certainly not the Sabres.
Oof. Yeah, it's there are some teams that have been almost ready to break through who are almost ready to not break through, like Buffalo, like Montreal. Philadelphia is struggling. They're here tonight. Yeah. Islanders look a little slow and kind of old. Pittsburgh, I'm not sure is all that good. They made some poor decisions the last couple of years. A great decision to have Sarah Civian on as we celebrate. It's a good day. It's a good day for women, I think. Sarah, I appreciate your time always. At Sarah Civian, you do an amazing job. Thank you so much. The Civ Report on Substack. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you so much for having me. Go women! Yay!
We are. Yeah. We're rooting for women today. All right. When we come back, one-timers. Next hour, Andrea Adelen of ESPN. She will join us, and we will talk about the college football playoff rankings that are, about 7 hours away from dropping. But one-timers is next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
When the power goes out, your life is disrupted. Heat, air conditioning, refrigeration, phones, all gone. Be prepared for the next outage with a Generac home standby generator. After sensing a power outage, a Generac generator automatically restores your home's power. Whether you're home or away, power your life with a Generac home standby generator. Act now for a free 10-year warranty on a Generac home standby generator. Terms and conditions apply. See more at alternativepower.com. Alternative Power, North Carolina's Generac experts.
AARP reminds you that November is National Family Caregivers Month. While family caregivers should be celebrated every day, this is a time to recognize and honor those taking care of their loved ones by raising awareness around caregiving issues, educating communities, and working to increase support for our nation's caregivers. Learn about this topic and more by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Oh, the NBA is back, and FanDuel is America's #1 sports book for a reason, because they want you to catch all the action. And right now, FanDuel giving everyone 3 months of NBA League Pass. All you got to do to catch every tip-off, every buzzer beater, every dunk is place any $5 wager on the NBA and get 3 months of NBA League Pass, courtesy of FanDuel and me. FanDuel.com/AGS. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel is an official sportsbook partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. After a 3-month free trial, the full price of League Pass will be automatically charged monthly. Cancel anytime. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Psst. Hello there. It's me, your internal clock. Yes, the one you sleep through on weekends. You've probably heard my TikToks, but I'm straight up sounding the bell now. It's almost time to start applying for college. That means you got transcripts to gather, letters of rec to request, and campus tours to schedule. But hey, we got time, and we've got CFNC. CFNC.org can help us plan, apply, and pay for college. We got this, trust me. Just visit CFNC.org to help us stay on time.
Your background may not include agriculture, but 2 years at the Agricultural Institute will prepare you for a career in it. Whether you are a military veteran with an arsenal of skills, kickstarting your second career, or about to graduate high school, the Agricultural Institute at NC State University is the right place for you. Nurture your passion and find your career. Learn more about our program online by searching NC State Ag Institute. 2 years, 1 degree, endless possibilities.
My name's Kate Roper, and I live in Leicester, North Carolina. In September of 2023, I had a tumor removed from my left ear, and I just enrolled in NC Medicaid. It was just such a relief knowing that now that I'm covered by NC Medicaid, I don't have to worry about how I'm going to pay for medical treatment now. It's probably saving my life.
See if you qualify at medicaid.nc.gov.
Have you ever noticed how little things can make a big difference? Letting someone with an item or two check out in front of you, especially when you have a cart full. By the way, it doesn't take any time to smile at a grumpy checkout clerk. Maybe they've been working a long shift. It takes so little time, but it works wonders. In North Carolina, we have always taken pride in being kind to everybody. Little things do make a difference. Makes you feel better. Makes everyone around you feel better.
This is Adam Gold.
Yeah, but he's real patient, like he said in his interview today.
In all other aspects of life.
Yes.
If he's in line at the drive-thru and it's taking a long time, he will not ram the car in front of him.
Exactly. Someone's pressing his shirt. He will wait 30 seconds for it to be crisper.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. Thank you very much for spending time with us. Andrea Adelen on college football next hour. Vashdie Hurt, hour number 3 on the Panthers. Bridget Condon on the rest of the NFL, also hour number 3. Excited to have this lineup today. And Victoria's here, so let's celebrate. Yeah, you go.
Right?
Where else would you be?
Well, the Canes game later.
It's not Wednesday.
It's not Wednesday, but we probably should prep Chip for later. As soon as the holidays come, I got more PTO.
Oh, do you? Okay, that's fine. It's entirely understandable. All right, let's get to one-timers.
Okay, well, like you mentioned earlier, we all learned this morning-ish that Mingo is now going to be with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
So, in a nutshell, your initial reaction to Mingo leaving, are the Panthers even going to notice that he's gone?
Well, here's what's interesting.
No.
On the Chuba Hubbard touchdown, if I'm not mistaken, on the Chuba Hubbard touchdown that put them ahead to stay, he made a great block.
Mm-hmm.
There's a role for a wide receiver who can block. Was it DeAndre Hopkins had a good block on a big gain for the Chiefs yesterday?
He did.
Hines Ward was an incredible blocking wide receiver. Hopkins and Ward also were great wide receivers.
There's that.
Like, you get paid to catch the ball. I mean, maybe Jonathan Mingo has a future as a blocking tight end. I don't know. Look, he's also, as it was unfair to judge Bryce Young, it may also be unfair to have judged Jonathan Mingo. We don't know. He certainly didn't distinguish himself this year. And he was, while better, kind of a mixed bag in preseason. He had some drops, much like Who was that other guy from LSU, Terrace Marshall, who ultimately got released? So I don't know that he's ever going to be an impact player, but he is still young. This is only his second year in the league. But it does look like that was not a good draft pick.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Mingo, we already highlighted all the wide receivers taken after him who were way better.
Which two are on my fantasy league, and I know they're better.
Probably not, by the way. That's surprising.
Yeah.
But that draft class, if Bryce Young doesn't turn out to be anything, we're talking about one of the worst draft classes in the history of the National Football League. Because right now, the only player who might be good, and I don't think he is DJ Johnson. That's it.
Well, moving on to the next one. So the trade deadline today is 4 o'clock. Is there a move that the Panthers have not made yet that you think they should make?
Look, there's a lot of moves I would make if I were them. But we don't think the same way. That's been proven over time. And I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying that I am more, we're not winning. I'm going to blow it up and basically start over. I would have done that 2 years ago. We'll see if Adam Thielen is still on the team coming up. I don't think they'll trade J.C. Horn unless they are blown away by an offer. But for me, he would be on the table. Also, will Tommy Tremble be moved? I don't know. I don't know what Miles Sanders, who isn't, I think, all that useful to anybody. But I would offer anybody. But I think Adam Thielen probably has a little value around the league.
Well, so Mingo is heading to Dallas for the Cowboys. Now, looking at their roster, Dak Prescott is going to be out with an injury for what they call multiple weeks. So, why would the Cowboys even go for Mingo? This is just a terrible move on their part.
Jerry Jones, the general manager of the Dallas Cowboys, said that they really liked him coming out of the draft. So they've had their eye on him, which frankly hasn't been all that easy to do since he's only caught 55 passes in a year and a half.
They just like his last name.
Apparently. That's a good name.
It is a good name. And so last night watching the football game, Patrick Mahomes had a scary moment with a potential ankle injury that he, I think, first got with the Raiders the week before. So in this scenario, if Mahomes were to be out, how much of an impact would that make on the Chiefs team?
Well, I mean, he's the reason they win, so it would have a huge impact. But Andy Reid can figure out a way to get a win even out of Carson Wentz. It also depends on who they play. And who do they play this week? They are home to Denver this week. We'll see. Mahomes plays through a lot of injuries, though.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And because FanDuel is everybody's favorite, we are giving everyone 3 months of NBA League Pass, and all you have to do to catch every tip-off and buzzer beater is place any $5 wager on the NBA and get 3 months of NBA League Pass courtesy of FanDuel. So who are you going to vote for? FanDuel, who's giving you 3 months of NBA League Pass, or one of the other guys? I know, it's FanDuel. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. After a 3-month free trial, the full price of League Pass will be automatically charged monthly. Cancel anytime. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
We're kicking it this fall with college football. Join 99.9 The Fan all season long and catch your favorite teams in action. The ACC, the SEC, and every conference that matters. You'll find the best matchups here.
Jordan Moore delivers, and the Blue Devils have the lead!
College football on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford and by Amedios.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling, we do the job right
every time.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling is celebrating 51 years of trusted service. And to celebrate, get a furnace tune-up for just $51. That's peace of mind heating for only $51. Visit MitchellHVAC.com. Mitchell Heating and Cooling, quality products and services on time from a family you trust. It's hard to stop a train.
Experience a Raleigh tradition. Head to Amedio's Italian restaurant, a family favorite for over 60 years. From weekly specials to their famous homemade recipes, Amedio's uses only the freshest ingredients. Need a touchdown for your tailgate? Amedio's offers delicious takeout, perfect for cheering on the Wolfpack. Or they can host your private party. Amedio's even caters. Amedio's Italian restaurant, Raleigh's Taste of Italy since 1963. Visit AmediosRestaurant.com for details.
It's Tim Donnelly for Window Nation. Right now, save 50% off all window styles, plus 0 interest for 5 years. Hurry, sale ends November 30th, so schedule an in-home estimate at 866-90Nation or visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com.
Fabric Talk. Hello, my love. I am your living room carpet. I see everything. I feel everything. After a while, I smell like everything, including Sir Pickles, who you snuggle with while binging that dating show you can't stop watching. So, how about we freshen things up with Febreze Fabric Spray? Oh, and a big spray for my pals, couch and ottoman. Ah, yes, refreshing. Breathe happy, Febreze. La 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 la.
Hi, this is Renee Chu. The most trusted local news in the Triangle is now on the radio. WRL News Plus. Now get breaking news and severe weather reports on the radio 24 hours a day. Listen on the radio at 96.5 FM in Durham, 99.3 FM in Raleigh, and everywhere in the Triangle at 101.5 HD3.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
One of the biggest winners was Notre Dame because there was going to be a huge question in that committee meeting room about their home loss to Northern Illinois, and that should not be an issue anymore. Notre Dame should have a firm spot in the committee's 12 when it's released on Tuesday, along with Boise State, which is leading the Group of 5 race as the 5th highest ranked conference champion because they're at the top of the Mountain West Conference standings right now. But I would also throw 2-loss Alabama back into the conversation, and one of the best wins in the country against Georgia. So don't count out the Tide. I would actually count them in.
That's Heather Dinich of ESPN. I would also count Alabama in. I have them in last. I have them in at number 12. So, not that I am the arbiter of what's right and wrong in college football in terms of picking the 12 teams that will play for the playoff. First 4 teams will be easy because they will all be conference champions. After that, it becomes more of, what are your tastes? But the the first playoff fake rankings will be spit out tonight. And it should be interesting to see what the committee says. And I think this would be the fun part of this whole endeavor, is that there's a lot more teams to sift through, and it doesn't eliminate you when you have lost twice. And I think I've heard a number of people think that we're going to have a 3-loss team in this field of 12, and I think eventually we'll go to first 14 and then 16, and then I know people might think I'm nuts, but when college football separates from the rest of college sports, and I believe it will, I think we'll have 24. I do. I think we'll have 24 in the playoff eventually because we'll have about 80 teams playing college football at that level, and I think there will be room for 24 playoff teams, and you'll have all sorts of things, and because it's 100% about making money. All right, so a lot to do. Andrea Adelen in a little less than 20 minutes, and we will talk college football playoff with her. Right now, it's our second take of the news on the news of the day. And I do have a question for Todd Bowles that we will get to.
I do have some information for someone who may or may not have a Commanders ticket. It could be a good thing for you. Trade update. The New Orleans Saints are sending 4-time Pro Bowl Marshawn Lattimore to the Washington Commanders. So that's the latest.
Ooh.
I know.
A little help on the outside for their defense.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very nice.
I know.
Like, I went to school in the D.C. area. I've never been a fan of the Washington football team, ever. I haven't necessarily disliked them, but I have never rooted for them. Maybe because I have a financial interest now, I will. But they are also a super fun team to support at this point. Jaden Daniels clearly is good. They've got some pieces around him that have gone through some tough years.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Quinn's got his hat backwards.
Right. He's in it.
Right. He looks like he's having a blast.
Just needs the chewing gum.
He does. Cliff Kingsbury is not trying to be what he's not. He's not trying to be a head coach because he was bad at it. You go look at what Cliff Kingsbury did as a head coach at Texas Tech. That when they were playing trash teams, they killed it. But once they got into conference play and they got later in the year where the conference schedules were backloaded for strength, they didn't win anything. I mean, that's typical of a lot of schools in college ball, and then the same thing happened in Arizona. Good in the first month and a half, and then bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he just wasn't, I don't know that he was cut out to be a head coach. He may be a head coach again down the road because that's what we do. But when it just comes to calling plays, he might be the right fit.
Could be.
Certainly having a good time with Jaden Daniels.
Oh,
anyway,
yeah.
Let's go to last night's game. Patrick Mahomes left the game with what looked like, because there wasn't a lot of contact. Now, it's an injury that was aggravated because last week, I think it was, I'm trying to think who they played, the Chargers?
The Raiders.
Raiders? Okay.
They played the Raiders.
It was tackled from behind that you
Right.
could see his ankle got rolled up
Right.
on.
They grabbed his ankles and he fell.
Yep.
So.
So he was just running. He was not hit here.
Yeah, last night there was no contact. He just landed funny.
Landed funny, and it was one of those Patrick Mahomes touchdown passes.
The ugliest passes that work beautifully.
Nobody throws stupid-looking passes like Patrick Mahomes.
This is like
and gets away with
Thanksgiving football in the front yard, Patrick Mahomes.
Throws passes left-handed.
Flicks it over this way,
end
sneezes
over end,
and just kind of tosses at the same time. I don't
crazy.
know. It's nuts.
But anyway, Andy Reid wanted to take Patrick Mahomes out, and Patrick Mahomes didn't come out.
I thought he was joking. He said it, and I was like, "Come on, like we're not doing this again." He trusts me, and once the doctors checked it out, and I was able to get back and do the drops again, he let me get back on the field.
Yeah. Your ankle's hurt. Let me put Carson Wentz in.
Yeah.
No, I'm fine. It's not broken. Okay, go back in.
The bone's still in there. I'm good.
So they added DeAndre Hopkins the other day. A couple of 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Via trade with Tennessee, I believe. So good trade. You add Hopkins. He's not the same receiver he used to be, but he looks like he's just another player that Mahomes can freelance with.
Mm-hmm.
And even though they practice that stuff, man, everything looks off the cuff, like designed in the dirt. He caught the touchdown pass that put him ahead.
Yeah.
Like, that was a big catch.
Total ad-lib. It was great.
So, Patrick Mahomes on his new receiver.
He's so good at winning one-on-one. And so to be able to have him down in the red zone, third down situations, he does a good job of filling out and finding those windows. He's kind of like Travis does. I think as he figures out the whole entire offense, he'll get even better, because there's sometimes he's going places I'm like, man, there's a time and a place for that, but that's what makes him great. And then you give him a chance down the field and he makes a play. It goes from a play where it might have been a bad decision to a big-time catch.
All right, now, talk about bad decisions. I mean, we could assign just basic math to the whole thing, right? So Tampa Bay scores a touchdown not to tie it, but to get within one, 24-23, with 27 seconds left. They're in Kansas City, right? In Kansas City.
They were.
Todd Bowles has a decision to make.
It's raining. It's gross.
Right? We kick the extra point and go to overtime against Kansas City, or we could go for 2 and try to win it. So Todd Bowles kicks the extra point, goes to overtime against Kansas City, and Kansas City scores a touchdown. Game's over. So my question to you, Todd Bowles, and this was asked of him after the game, did you think about going for 2?
Very minor. We wanted to get it to overtime with the wet conditions on the field. We felt like we had to go into overtime instead of go for 2. So we had our shots. We lost the game.
Todd, I know in the past you've mentioned you had communications upstairs about decisions, analytically, things of that nature. Did they advise you not to go for 2? What was...
No, we went for 1. We took our shots. We had our chances all game. We just lost the game. It didn't come down to that.
All right.
They also shouldn't have taken a timeout with like 33 seconds left, because you give Patrick Mahomes 2.5 and he'll have a touchdown.
I mean, the Buffalo Bills gave him 13 seconds.
Yeah.
And they kicked the field goal to tie it and then won it in overtime.
You're going to give him almost triple?
It's just silly. All right. Now, I think Todd Bowles is a good coach. But there has to be somebody to explain math to coaches. Because in that situation, if the goal is to win the game, you don't get a point for getting it to overtime. It's not like hockey. You don't get the point, and then you're playing for the extra point. No. If the goal is to win the game, then your best chance of winning the game is to go for 2. You've got one play from 2.5 yards out. That's your chance. In general, even against a good defense, you're talking about a 40 to 45% chance. So I know what you think, Todd Bowles. Wet conditions, what could happen? What could happen is Kansas City could happen.
Yep.
This is what they do. If they get the ball first, they're going to score. They do it all the time.
And they did.
So if the goal is to win the game, nobody is going to criticize you, Todd, for going for 2 to try to win the game on one play. Nobody's going to criticize you for that.
Not against Mahomes and company.
You don't get any glory for forcing overtime against Kansas City. It's still the same L. I don't understand.
It was a bad move.
It's probability.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, if you won the toss, is your offense that great that you're going to ice the game with a touchdown? Probably not. Because you're not Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. And it doesn't make a difference if he's on one leg or not.
Yeah. And the opposite of Mahomes, Mayfield doesn't have half the receivers that Mahomes does.
That's right. Although you nailed the receiver.
I know.
You were right.
Otten got a touchdown. Yes. And I took the over in the Chiefs. But it's all units.
What are you doing?
I know.
What are you doing?
It's terrible.
You could be retired. All right, last night at Lenovo Center, the Wolfpack hung 2 banners last night. By the way, I when I was talking about this earlier, 1987, the Wolfpack did win an ACC tournament, right? So that's a banner. You win an ACC championship, that's a banner. It has been since 87 that they have hung any banners of note at what is now Lenovo Center. And last night, they hung another ACC championship banner and a Final Four banner, and that is a championship. Don't be fooled. When you win a region, what I'm trying to remember what region they were in, doesn't matter. The Midwest Regional Champion, you got to win 4 games, and they ain't all easy games. And State didn't have to. They weren't all easy games, and they beat Duke for the ACC championship and to get to the Final Four. So that carried a lot of meaning. Maybe not as much to players, big time. No, it's fun, but there is deep meaning to fans. And it's also validation that Kevin Keatts is doing a good job as the head coach. And here's Kevin Keatts on the banners.
What a beautiful night. It's not very often that you get a chance to drop 2 banners. And, for us here at NC State, it's been 37 years, and, man, it was beautiful. I knew that those banners would look good, but they look great. And, man, I tell you what, man, it took everything I had, and I got really emotional. But I knew I had to keep it together because we had a game to play. But, man, it's special. It's kind of like, why do you do the job? And the job is done because you want to see young men have success.
Well, yes, but you also, when you are the head coach of a major program, yes, it's about the kids, but you are also giving back to fans. And this is why I've said for a long time that college sports to me feels the most like club football in Europe because those are all community teams. It's different. They're not professional franchises. They are community teams. And NC State basketball belongs to NC State fans. There's no owner. There's not, Lonnie Poole, who's got his name on the golf course, right? And it's a big booster or all the people that donate and have their names all over Wolfpack facilities, those are not the owners of NC State. It is the people, it is the fans, it is the community. Same thing at North Carolina, right? And even Duke, as a private school, it's a little different, but there's no owner. So fans who buy tickets, who make trips, who go to bowl games, who donate, who live and die with each win and haven't gotten a return, got to enjoy 2 banners last night. And I think that's just awesome. So if you're a State fan and you watched last night and you might have teared up, I don't know.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
37 years.
Yeah.
So congratulations on last year and just being reminded last night of all of the feelings that you have had and the frustrations. Because I've said this, as a lifelong fan of mostly poor teams. I'm a Mets fan.
Yeah.
I used to be a Jets fan.
As a Panther fan, I get it.
There you go. You must. You have earned the right to feel great. It's why fandom, to me, is amazing, is undefeated. Why, when people say, well, I'm not really a fan, I just like the game, I'm not really a fan, I'm like, man, you're missing out.
Yeah.
The payoff of being a fan, even of a bad team, and seeing success is unrivaled. That payoff is incredible. I promise you this. I'm not knocking fans of teams that win all the time. I'm not doing that. But when you don't win all the time, it does, because you have to savor it. It does mean just a little bit more. So I hope State fans enjoyed the memories that last night brought back. When we come back, Andrea Adelen on the college football playoff. They're going to give us 12 teams tonight. First 4 probably pretty easy, right? Oregon, Georgia, Miami, BYU. Right now, those are the teams in pole position to win their conferences. I'm going to guess they're going to give us something like that. And then, who are the next 8? We'll talk about it with Andrea next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Tonight's forecast calls for Hurricanes hockey.
Natchez heads up. Back to Orlov. He scores! A 1-2 punch from Dmitry Orlov. It's 3-2 on Orlov, second of the game.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7.
Back to Slavin. He shot right on. Rebounds out in front. Chance on front. They score! Here come the Hats!
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes, 99.9 The Fan.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
Shop Dell Technologies' early holiday savings event for their lowest prices of the year. The future is on sale today with limited time deals on select PCs like the XPS 16 that accelerate AI with Intel Core Ultra processors. Early holiday savings is their biggest sale of the year and the best time to upgrade, but it's only here for a limited time. Shop now at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
It's bow time. It's not just football season. It's tailgate season. And that includes every kind of football, whether it's got goalkeepers or goalposts. The kick is good! Because it doesn't matter where or how you tailgate. When you've got crispy chicken and fluffy buttermilk biscuits from Bojangles, your tailgate is better than great. It's legendary. Head to Bojangles and order your tailgate box with boldly seasoned chicken, fixins, biscuits, and legendary iced tea today. It's bow time.
Planning a tailgate? Then it's bow time. Bojangles has everything you need for the perfect tailgate, no matter how many fans you're trying to feed. There's the original tailgate, the super tailgate, and for a really big crowd, the jumbo tailgate special. And if you like your chicken off the bone, choose the Supreme's tailgate special that includes 12 perfectly seasoned tenderloin fillets. So grab the tickets, get that Bojangles tailgate special, and go. It's bow time.
What if you could be debt-free by this January? Get rid of all that high-interest debt, pay off all your credit cards, consolidate everything into one lower payment? Hey, it's Dennis Cox. If you're ready to stop stressing over bills, you need to call Loan Pronto right now. With rates at their lowest in 2 years, this is the perfect chance to use your home's equity and save big going into the new year. Loan Pronto's got rates with APRs in the low 5s, and they're getting homeowners hundreds of thousands out of their home's equity. Homeowners who do this save on average $850 a month. Loan Pronto offers a ton of options, including total refis or their express equity line of credit. So call now. Get a rate quote in just minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call today and you won't make a house payment till 2025. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com, free rate quote now, 919-381-1760. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Would you know what to do in a poison emergency? Would you know whom to call? Well, the answer is Poison Help. 1-800-222-1222. Poison Help is a 24/7 government hotline staffed by poison experts. It's free to call and available in over 100 languages. Every second counts in a poison emergency. Don't waste it wondering who to call. Save Poison Help in your phone today. 1-800-222-1222.
This is Adam Gold.
We don't need Al Roker in a suit doing yoga.
No.
And Al, to his credit, recognized that and said, you know what? I am not getting into Warrior 2.
I'm stopping at Downward Dog.
There will be no, he didn't get to that. Heck no.
The Adam Gold Show.
the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program. Canes tonight. We'll get back to talking about the Hurricanes. They'll be at Lenovo Center against the Philadelphia Flyers a little bit later on. Perfect distraction for me tonight. Otherwise, it might be a basket case, but it's all right. It is it's a big day in our great nation. Also, what I'm talking about really is the college football playoff rankings will be announced sometime between 7 and 8 tonight. I know Andrea Adelen from ESPN will have maybe both eyes peeled to the network. I know she touted Rhett Lashley, SMU football coach, as a potential Coach of the Year candidate. So I'll start there, Miss Adelson, and thank you very much for the time. Is SMU going to see their name tonight? Not that tonight counts for anything, but you think we're going to see their name on the board tonight?
Gosh, I hope so, and it's good to be back on with you. I'm a little skeptical, however, with two-loss Alabama hanging out there and the potential for them to get into the top 12. And the reason I'm skeptical is because we've been through this before, right? There's always going to be an SEC team that has multiple losses ranked ahead of a one-loss ACC team. How many times have we seen this? Or even Big 12, fill in the conference. That's generally speaking the way that some of these rankings have gone over the years. And so I wonder how much of that factor of SEC strength of schedule, the fact that Vanderbilt is a bowl team and 6-3, and maybe that was considered a bad loss earlier in the year, not so bad anymore, is going to weigh into the fact that Alabama is going to look very appealing. You know, they lost it by 3 to Georgia when they almost could have came back and won that game. So that's what I'm interested to see. If SMU can make it into that top 12 ahead of a multiple-loss SEC team. And I think if they do, that's a good sign for the ACC for now, because the issue now moving forward, at least from my perspective, is you've got Miami sitting there undefeated, which is great for the conference, but then you've got everyone else with a loss. And so if the ACC finishes with undefeated Miami and everyone else that has multiple losses, I'm not sure that's going to be enough to get two teams from the ACC into the top 12.
Yeah, well, Clemson still can kind of backdoor their way in. If they don't lose again. Are
you sure?
Well, if they don't lose again, that means they would have beaten South Carolina, who doesn't look like a bad team at all. So
and who else?
All right. How come their laundry doesn't matter? How come now you're probably right, but how come Clemson's laundry doesn't matter? Yeah, Alabama does have the win over Georgia, which they didn't nearly. They threw it all away. That game was over at the end of the first quarter, and then it wasn't. And then Georgia showed, I think, their true mettle. I don't know if they're the best team in the SEC. I think they are, and we'll find out by the end. But Alabama hasn't really distinguished themselves since then. But last year, Alabama got in the playoff because they're Alabama, and it could actually happen again. So, but I'm not completely pushing aside the Clemson Tigers just yet. We'll see what happens between maybe it'll depend on how they beat South Carolina again, if they beat South Carolina. What about Indiana? I know the polls all have Indiana ahead of Alabama. I find that somewhat comical, but maybe that's just me being the same as all of those. Opinion people who think, well, Alabama's got to be better than Indiana. Indiana hasn't lost yet. I'm not sure they've played anybody, better than SMU has played. But what is your take on where the Hoosiers are at this point? Because they have losses still to come on their schedule, more than likely.
Well, I mean, they're undefeated, and Alabama has 2 losses, so they should be, quite frankly, ranked ahead of Alabama. Look, this is the same argument that Clemson folks made when they were making their playoff run and people were ripping them for their schedule. You can only play the teams that are in front of you, right, on the schedule that you've been given. And the way that Indiana has played those teams and looked when they've played those teams, I think has been impressive. Now, you're right. They haven't played the top-tier teams in the Big Ten, nor will they until they get to Ohio State later on in the year. And I'm not even going to include, Michigan. My husband would probably be mad at me for saying that, but I don't count Michigan this year as one of the top tier Big Ten teams. So you look at the rest of their schedule, And all they've got left is at Ohio State. That's going to be the biggest challenge. Michigan, at Ohio State, Purdue. And they've done what they had to do. You know, people doubted whether they could beat Washington, and they did it. People doubted whether they could even beat Nebraska back when Nebraska was playing well, and we thought maybe they might be halfway decent. And they did it. They went on the road and beat UCLA. And I know they're not great, but the fact of the matter is they've done what they've been asked to do. Is their strength of schedule better than Alabama? Well, like, no. But they've won all their games.
Right.
And I think that should count for something. And I was very consistent in saying that about Clemson back during their runs when people were ripping on them for their schedule. So I have to be consistent and say the same thing about Indiana at this point in time.
Andrea Adelen from ESPN is joining us here at Adelson ESPN on Twitter. I said the same thing about Florida State last year. It didn't matter. I was absolutely stunned that it's as though all Florida State was a quarterback. It had nothing to do with the other players on the team who did all of that. But I had never thought it was about Florida State. I thought that was a convenient excuse. The lobbying at the end, and I guess it's a day of, in some ways, elections and polls and lobbying. The lobbying by whether it's Greg Sankey or Nick Saban, who's now a colleague at ESPN, for we're definitely one of the four best. I mean, I think the SEC's best team, Georgia, didn't even make the playoff. It was Alabama got in. They shouldn't have gotten in over Texas, so they took them both. And to me, it was a convenient excuse to leave Florida State by the wayside. So it could happen. It could happen again. But if you look at the top teams, there aren't that many teams that have played anybody good anyway yet.
Right.
Ohio State's played Iowa and Penn State. Ohio State's probably got the best strength of schedule of all the teams. They lost to Oregon, beat Iowa and Penn State. Who's Texas played? Is their best win Vanderbilt?
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's part of the issue in trying to separate what these teams are going to look like top to bottom. And I think that's also an issue that's created by getting rid of divisions, quite frankly, is because now you have some teams like, say, Florida that plays a backbreaking schedule in the SEC. And then you've got Texas that doesn't play nearly the same type of strength of schedule that Florida has, right? I mean, yeah, of course they played Georgia, but quite frankly, it's very uneven now. When you take a look at it and you look at Miami's schedule, for example, we haven't talked about Miami. They avoid having to play SMU and Clemson,
right,
on the schedule this year. And Pitt, by the way, who, statistically at least, those are the top four. And that was the concern if Miami, Clemson, and SMU had finished undefeated in ACC play. We don't have to worry about that anymore. But that's what I think is going to be so fascinating to see how the committee kind of views what that strength of schedule is going to look like, because the automatic default has always been, well, the SEC has the best strength of schedule. But not every SEC schedule in the SEC is created equal. And so that's where I think it's going to be fascinating to see how it all gets slotted in, but then also, as we mentioned at the beginning, how the committee views Alabama with 2 losses.
Andrea Adelen is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. A few weeks ago when Georgia went to Alabama, and that was an incredible game for just how it played out. I mean, if it was a back-and-forth game and played out that way, we would be talking about it as the greatest game we'd ever seen. But it was like 3 different games. It was just Georgia made a boatload of mistakes that Alabama capitalized, and Alabama went away. Georgia did that to them. It's just weird. But after the game, and I mean, I guess everybody can be excited about a 12-team playoff. And the Associated Press, I guess their national college football writer, Ralph Russo, put on Twitter that if you thought that this game was made less meaningful because we have a 12-team playoff, then you just hate a 12-team playoff. And I'm like, wait a second, can we just do math? Like, Georgia lost the game, and now they are in first place, basically, in the SEC. How can we, with a straight face, say that game had so much meaning when it clearly didn't?
Well, I mean, it's going to have some meaning when it comes down to what happens in the SEC championship game, which will eventually have some meaning on who's going to get a top 4 seed, which every team's going to want to have that open, date, so you don't have to end up playing as many games as the other 8 potentially to make it into a national championship game. But, I think the point is more that these games remain enthralling, exciting, must-see TV. You look at the ratings, you see how these games have rated. I mean, it's record ratings across the board for ESPN now that we've got the SEC and showing triple headers on ABC. And that has hurt the ACC, for example, with their ratings. But it's not as if people do not want to watch it. People are telling us more, like we want to watch more and more of it. And so, I think the point is that, there's a 12-team playoff, and some people thought the regular season maybe wouldn't matter as much in the grand scheme of things, but it still matters to people. Yeah. People are still watching, tuning in, and it does matter what ends up happening with your seeding, right? Because either you get in the SEC championship game, you have the potential to get one of those first 4 byes, right? Or you have the potential to at least host a home game if you finish 5 through 8. Right? The last thing you want to do is get that 9 through 12 spot. And a lot of that is determined based on what you're doing in the regular season and how things play themselves out. So, I was not a proponent of 12 teams. I think it's too many. And I sit down and I do the rankings every week and I'm like, really, I have to do 12 of these? Like, I can't, it's hard, to do that top 12 because I don't think the top 12 is I don't think every team in that top 12 is capable of winning a national championship, let's just say. I preferred a 6 to 8 team model, but it doesn't matter because the ratings are there. And guess what? People are going to tune in and watch a 12-team playoff. The ratings are going to be astronomical, especially in this first year. So, we're giving the people what they want.
What are you going to do when they go to 14 and then 16 and then 24?
I'm going to keep ranking the teams 1 through 16, 1 through 24.
Look, you should call Joe Lunardi and find out how he sorts through the last 12 to 14 teams in his bracket because I speak to Joe, I speak to the competition, Jerry Palm from CBS, and he gets past past the 8 seeds and he goes, none of these teams are any good. Just none of them. None of them are any good.
This is why we have Heather Dinich on our staff who does her own bubble watch, and she can take care of all that. But I will say, I try to be very diligent when I'm doing my rankings in terms of making sure whoever has that head-to-head win, is going to be ranked ahead if the records are equal or even within a loss of each other. But as we get further into the season, that takes a lot more time because you tend to forget what happened in September. And let me just triple check who won this game, right?
Right.
So that I can make sure I have it right. And then, you get to Texas A&M and Notre Dame. Okay, they're within a loss of each other. And, this was last week, obviously. And it's okay, well, I don't know, A&M looks better than Notre Dame, but wait, Notre Dame won. So what do I do? So, that part of it, which I understand, having gone through those mock selection committees of the eye test and how much do you take into account a head-to-head in September versus the way a team is playing in November, which, the committee did do with Florida State, last year. That's why it's very difficult to come up with your top 12. And quite frankly, every committee member is coming at it from a different perspective too. Maybe you care more about the eye test as opposed to what the numbers are telling you, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe you're just the numbers say this and, I see this and that's why I think X is better than Y. That's why their rankings aren't all the same and they have to come into a room and talk about it.
It's just
when they put them all in the system.
It's just an excuse to order takeout in Texas. Before I say
I'm
goodbye,
all for takeout. I love takeout.
Exactly, I do too. If SMU doesn't lose again, they get to the ACC championship game and they lose to Miami. I hope that does not impact them negatively. It might benefit the ACC to have SMU win that game and Miami get in as the at-large, but I wouldn't say that it would benefit Miami. And they are not necessarily trying to help out the ACC. Andrea Adelson, you're awesome. I appreciate your time at Adelson ESPN on Twitter. Good to catch up. I will see you soon.
Thanks for having me again. Appreciate it.
You got it. Andrea Adelson from ESPN. Hurricanes tonight at Lenovo Center against the Philadelphia Flyers, who have struggled of late. I think Philadelphia's goaltender, Samuel Ersson, I believe he got hurt, which means they are going down the depth chart. I remember a time where they had the up-and-coming goaltender in the NHL named Corey Hart, and he went all over the place, and I don't believe he's even on their roster right now. But the Flyers are not a pushover team. I think this is a dangerous game for Carolina for two reasons. One, they still have some veteran players who know how to play. You still got Travis Konechny. You've still got Sean Couturier. You've got good players. They've got an exciting young rookie in Matvei Michkov, right? There's talent there. They are coached by John Tortorella, which I understand has a short shelf life these days. Torts, who burst on the scene in Tampa, won a Stanley Cup, then went to Columbus and was pretty good there for a while, has gotten into a point where he's got about a 2 to 3 year shelf life wherever he goes. And we might be seeing the end of that in Philadelphia, to be perfectly honest. But he'll have them ready to play. Now, will Philadelphia be able to handle the Hurricanes tonight? But it's hard to do. It's hard to play the way the Hurricanes play every single night. There's going to be times where there is drop-off. And that is unfortunately for the Hurricanes, this is the way they are built. They are built to beat you by being annoying to play against. Not in a bad way. They're not a dirty team. They're not even that physical of a hockey team. But they are aggressive, they are in your face, and they don't let you breathe. They don't give you space. So on those nights where that effort isn't quite all the way there, and it's hard to do it, that's where you can see, I think Philadelphia's got enough talent to be a problem tonight. Pittsburgh on Thursday, same deal. Hurricanes have also won 6 in a row and 8 of 9. And every once in a while, you have a game like they had in St. Louis where you dominate the game for 60 minutes. Well, not 60, 57 minutes. And those 3 minutes kill you. Let's hope that doesn't happen tonight. Kochetkov, who played very well against Washington on Sunday. This is the time. Now, the schedule is such where Rod can just let him go. We don't have to see Spencer Martin at all because there's a day off. There's no back-to-backs for a bit. So we can see Kochetkov over and over and over and over again. And this is the time for him to establish himself and be the guy. I don't anticipate Anderson's going to be out too long anyway. I saw him in the press box on Sunday evening, and he looks good. I just casually asked him, "How you doing?" He goes, "I'll be okay." All right, but he is one that needs to be 100% before he comes back to the lineup. And real quick about the Hurricanes, because I've seen, and by the way, we have a poll up. It's election day. I don't know if you knew this.
Oh, no.
It's election day. I didn't even hear that. I asked people to vote for their favorite Hurricane.
Okay.
Okay, very simple.
Current?
Just vote, yes. Vote
Okay.
for your favorite Hurricane. And polls are still open. And they will be open, I believe, for another till 2:30, roughly. And then we will be able to count the votes and go through all of the absentees and the mail-in ballots and early voting. That all gets counted last, and we'll be able to announce the results. But the exit polling tells us that the vote favors, it's a young voting bloc. So I'll just leave it at that. But your choices are Seth Jarvis, Andrei Svechnikov, Sebastian Aho, and Jacob Slavin. And there was a lot of write-ins for Pyotr Kochetkov, and there were even some write-ins for Jesperi Kotkaniemi. and Martin Nages.
Oh,
But
yes. Yeah.
I would say Pyotr Kochetkov would be leading the write-in candidate, but lagging way behind the four young men on the ballot. No women, sadly.
Nah.
If there was a woman, she would be winning this.
Maybe next year.
Anyway, maybe exactly. Anyway, so there's until about 2:30, people will be able to vote. So vote. You can only vote once, much like America. I think.
I think that's written somewhere.
I'm not 100% sure. You might be able to vote twice somewhere, depending on where you live. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll stretch and we'll place bets next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
From the food we eat to the clothes we wear, agriculture touches every corner of our daily lives. I'm Lee Ivey, director of the Agricultural Institute at NC State University. With the world's population growing, we need people equipped and trained to meet the needs of our future. In our program, we rise to meet that challenge every day, and our students are engaged and invested. Learn more about our program online by searching NC State Ag Institute. 2 years, 1 degree, endless possibilities.
My name's Kate Roper, and I live in Leicester, North Carolina. In September of 2023, I had a tumor removed from my left ear, and I just enrolled in NC Medicaid. It was just such a relief knowing that now that I'm covered by NC Medicaid, I don't have to worry about how I'm going to pay for medical treatment now. It's probably saving my life.
See if you qualify at medicaid.nc.gov.
AARP reminds you that November is National Family Caregivers Month. While family caregivers should be celebrated every day, this is a time to recognize and honor those taking care of their loved ones by raising awareness around caregiving issues, educating communities, and working to increase support for our nation's caregivers. Learn about this topic and more by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
ACT Construction Equipment is proud to be your certified local Takeuchi dealer in Charlotte, Winston-Salem, Asheville, Wilmington, and Myrtle Beach. Takeuchi has long been a world leader in the compact construction industry. Let ACT Construction Equipment help you find the right machine for the job. Our full line of excavators, track loaders, and attachments are designed for low maintenance and high productivity. Visit us online at actce.com to schedule a demo. ACT Construction Equipment, your authorized Takeuchi dealer.
Hello there, it's me, your internal clock. Yes, the one you sleep through on weekends. You've probably heard my TikToks, but I'm straight up sounding the bell now. It's almost time to start applying for college. That means you got transcripts to gather, letters of rec to request, and campus tours to schedule. But hey, we've got time, and we've got CFNC. CFNC.org can help us plan, apply, and pay for college. We got this, trust me. Just visit CFNC.org to help us stay on time.
When the power goes out, your life is disrupted. Heat, air conditioning, refrigeration, phones, all gone. Be prepared for the next outage with a Generac home standby generator. After sensing a power outage, a Generac generator automatically restores your home's power, whether you're home or away. Power your life with a Generac home standby generator. Act now for a free 10-year warranty on a Generac home standby generator. Terms and conditions apply. See more at alternativepower.com. Alternative Power, North Carolina's Generac experts.
As you go about your daily life, look closer. As you gather with family and friends, look closer. Right in your community, there are youth who don't have the home, warmth, and healing you have. So, look closer. Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. Covenant House is the national leader providing safe housing for youth, 50 years strong. Tonight, 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed. And tomorrow, they will wake up surrounded by love. Every youth who walks into Covenant House gets clean clothes, hot meals, medical care, and a safe place to sleep 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in sites across America to help them fulfill the great promise of their lives. So, look closer at Covenant House and help us fight youth homelessness. To help or get help, go to covenanthouse.org.
I grew up hearing that women are bad with money, but I pay bills and take care of my family. I'm taking control of my financial future by saving for retirement at WeSaySaveIt.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
This is Adam Gold.
Yeah, but he's real patient, like he said in his interview today.
In all other aspects of life.
Yes.
If he's in line at the drive-thru and it's taking a long time, he will not ram the car in front of him.
Exactly. Someone's pressing his shirt. He will wait 30 seconds for it to be crisper.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold, Victoria producing the program. Going to place bets in just a moment, but we have other things to get to. As it turns out, this show is heard across the state from Wilmington to Asheville down to Charlotte. Now, it's time shifted in Charlotte, so I hope everybody in Charlotte is having a good evening.
Yes.
I think by the time they hear this,
the Canes will be playing.
I can't tell you what the score is. I can't predict that. But polls will have closed.
Yes.
Right? So thank you in Charlotte for voting.
Mm-hmm.
We should put Easter eggs in just for the folks in Charlotte.
I know.
Like stuff, we'll just throw it
Confuse
in after
people?
everything. Yeah. Just after everything.
How did they know that?
So, because I think polls in North Carolina close at 7:30.
I think so.
So I think we're open until 7:30. So although my understanding is if you're waiting in line, stay in line.
Right. I'm sure they
You can
won't
still
turn
vote.
you away.
You can still vote.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's stretch.
Well, speaking of the election, there was a poll, and also your poll that you have up that's more Canes-centric. This one was about the election day, and it's funny because I just had this conversation. This poll in particular was asking Americans if we should have election day as a federal holiday.
Yes.
And yes, I think we should. How great would that be? I mean, because then there's no excuse, really. Like, if everyone's off work,
so
people would find an excuse.
Veterans Day is a federal holiday.
Yes.
Okay. And it should be. I'm not saying it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Right. But riddle me this. Since veterans essentially are responsible for us,
our ability to vote,
being exactly, why can't those two things be the same?
They should.
We should be off.
I mean, we should run the whole world because then we would have it right. I mean, I think this is a great idea. Have a Tuesday off so we could vote, and then everyone can wear their stickers.
Yeah.
70% of Americans say, yeah, they think it is a good idea.
Right.
The other 15 say no, and then there's some that aren't sure. I don't know why that 30% isn't on board, but
the other 15 are still doing their own research.
yeah, something. I don't know.
Every time I see a focus group,
yes.
and I still haven't done my own research. I'm like, I just think that you're not capable of doing that.
No.
You are not capable of doing your own research. I'm sorry.
No, it's just, it's bad. Well, the other thing people might be doing while they're wishing that it was a federal holiday today so they could vote, some people might be having a watch party while they watch this. Now, I know this used to maybe be a thing back in the day.
The election returns?
Yeah, they're having a watch party. Now, there's not a lot of people doing this because this poll is saying only about 10% of people plan on attending a quote watch party for this because this stuff could go all night, but
well, all night, all week. It could go all week.
Exactly. So there you go. To each their own, I suppose. But who knows? Now, with elections, a lot of times you need something to make you feel good afterward because, things. And there are some movies that will help you with this. These are, quote, feel-good movies. And this was from Ranker.com. So I'm assuming this website, you can just go and rank things like we're doing the college football rankings.
Yeah, they rank things. I'm not sure you can rank things. They rank things.
How much?
It's pretty good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
I think Ranker's pretty good.
This website in particular is saying there's 20 that they've pointed out. I won't go over all 20, but some of these we could get down with. Finding Nemo, I think so. That's a great one. Shrek, that's always a good one.
I like Shrek.
Toy Story, these are all cute ones, but then we get into like Mrs. Doubtfire.
Can we watch Shark Tale?
Always fun. Maybe.
Shark Tale is an American classic.
If you want to.
Big fan.
Cool Runnings, that's one of my faves. I love that one. I don't know how this made the list.
That's awesome.
Matilda, especially if you want to eat some chocolate cake. That movie made me hate chocolate cake, by the way.
Really?
For
I have
the
not seen
longest
Matilda.
time. I thought it was the grossest scene. People, if you know, you know. And then the Goonies. I mean, of course, the Goonies. They also threw It's a Wonderful Life. Let me tell you, no, it's too early for Christmas. We got to have Turkey Day. Even in my town, they put up the Christmas lights last night. I saw that when I was going home, and I literally said some words while I was driving because I thought, what are we doing? But yeah, if you want to watch A Wonderful Life because it makes you feel better, then you do that. You do that and eat your chocolate cake. Or maybe you could make some really good bets like we do.
Let's see.
Place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal in Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
All right. I didn't get any wins yesterday, I don't believe.
Oh, thanks for Otten getting me.
Kansas City's first touchdown wasn't a
touchdown.
defensive TD, wasn't it?
No.
No, I didn't think so.
No.
Fulham and Brentford, I said it would be a draw.
Oh, yeah?
Fulham scored twice in stoppage time to win 2-1.
Oh,
I thought for a second I was going to be a hero.
I know.
And then no.
I love a good draw. Well, tonight, all of mine are going to be on the ice. My football ones, of course, only used regular units, not real units, so it's okay. Hopefully somebody else listened and used real units. But today, all on the ice, starting with the Flyers and the Canes game tonight at home. Hockey in Carolina. Give me Jarvie to be an anytime goal scorer because I want to see it. I'll be there with my dad as a fan.
All right, that's good. Anytime goal scorer?
Yes.
Very nice. All right, we'll start with the Hurricanes. Brent Burns, who has a bunch of goals in his career against the Flyers but has none yet this year, gets his first tonight. Plus 470.
Oh.
Brent Burns, anytime goal scorer.
I would love to see that, too. That'd be great. Next up, the Flames taking on the Canadiens in Montreal. Give me just the Canadiens to win outright at home. Plus 120 because they're underdogs.
They are. There's a bunch of home underdogs. St. Louis is a home underdog to Tampa tonight. Also, I think Winnipeg takes their first loss at home. Utah Hockey Club is there. But you know what Martin Necas has done in each of the last 3 games and 5 of his last 6 and 6 of his last 8?
Scored a goal.
Multi-points.
Nice.
2 or more points tonight. Martin Necas plus 255.
I wouldn't hate that one either. My last one, the Bruins and the Maple Leafs. They're going to be in Toronto, so give me one of your favorites, Elias Lindholm, to be an anytime scorer. Plus 450. It's a lot.
That is a lot. He hasn't scored a lot of goals.
Yeah, but tonight might be the night.
Lindholm might not be great for what Boston needs. I think Lindholm is a dynamite player. I love him.
Yeah.
But he's not a top line. He's not a number 1 center, and that's basically how they're using him right now. All right, 2 of the storied football clubs, European football clubs ever, Real Madrid and AC Milan, are at the Bernabeu in Madrid. It's Champions League match day 4. Neither of these sides are playing all that well right now. Real just lost El Clasico 4-0 at home to Barcelona. Let's see a draw between Milan and Real at plus 410. Also, I think City is in trouble at Sporting if you care, but Real and AC Milan, a draw, plus 410.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here from my man, Coach Pete DeRuta, Capital Financial Advisory Group in Apex. He's a retirement planning specialist, and you, like many people, including those my age, are getting to the point where I'm done. I don't want to go to work anymore. I don't want to get up. I don't want to do what they want me to do. I want to do what I want to do. Not me, personally. Not me. Don't tell the bosses. But if you are, Coach Pete DeRuta can help you get there. 888-843-0013. Or you can text Adam to 600-700, and we are going to get you in front of Coach Pete and his merry band of fiduciaries. They are legally obligated to do right by you, and we are going to get you a total customized retirement plan so you can retire on your terms. And by the way, that is a $1,000 value to somebody else. Yours free today, but you have to call 888-843-0013. 0013 or text Adam to 600-700 for Coach Pete DeRuna.
Pack Therapy is in session thanks to First Horizon Bank. It's Tim Donnelly from 99.9 The Fan alongside legendary Wolfpack play caller Mike Glennon.
Every episode of Pack Therapy is your chance to get dialed in with inside information on your team.
We'll set you up for every Wolfpack game all season long.
And we'll break down every contest, what went right and what could have worked better.
Plus, special guests to keep Wolfpack hope alive.
Follow and subscribe to Pack Therapy wherever you discover your favorite podcasts or watch on YouTube.
Come to Atlantic Spas and Billiards this fall to elevate your leisure experience. We have a huge selection of Finleo saunas, hot tubs from Hot Spring and Caldera, and endless pool swim spas. No room for a game table inside? We have outdoor pool tables, shuffleboard, table tennis, and everything you can imagine. We have over a 15,000 square foot showroom with a great grill department and a water testing department for your hot tub needs. Atlantic Spas and Billiards has great pricing for the holiday shopping experience. Order now for holiday delivery. Glenwood Avenue, Raleigh, Market Street, Wilmington, AtlanticSBNC.com.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Sammy Hanna, owner-operator of the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. I tell people this all the time. If I am doing a commercial for somebody, I am vouching for who they are and what they do. You guys do great work, but your customer service stands above all the great work that you do.
Adam, I truly appreciate that testimonial. And yeah, we try to take pride in our customer service and meet and exceed our homeowners' expectations on all their home improvement needs. Obviously, there's many companies out there that do what we do. If you Google home improvements Raleigh, you're going to get many, many companies. But you're not going to find too many companies out there that have a 4.9 rating and over 800 Google reviews and over 7,000 Guild quality reviews. It takes a lot of work on our part to make sure we meet and exceed all your expectations on customer service. And we're going to continue to do so because that's why we've been in business since 1961.
I have used the Aluminum Company. I have not heard anyone that had anything but incredible things to say about all of you, and that is amazing. That's a testimony to how you guys do it. Aluminum Company of North Carolina, aluminumcompany.com. Whether it's the future of college football or my love for the Ryder Cup, it's all found in the Best of the Adam Gold Show podcast, brought to you by Coach Pete at Capital Financial Advisory Group. Visit us at capitalfinancialusa.com.
Hey, man, been to Sharky's lately?
Yeah, man, I was there last night with you.
Oh, yeah. The wings and the burgers are killer. They have so many beers, it's hard to choose, you know?
I know. You know, they got trivia on Tuesdays and luck of the draw darts on Sunday, man. I love them both.
Yeah, I love that place, man.
You know what, man? I think Sharky's may be the best bar in the world.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. Let's go grab a beer.
Sharky's at the corner of Delta Lake Drive and Durham Road. Open 7 days a week.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
You're listening to The Adam Gold Show.
They've come in re-energized because they were cast off from their previous places, and they're out to prove things. And in Roslovic's case, he had 6 goals, and he's on a 1-year ticket, and, you know, he's writing his own story. To me, Gostisbehere's really been good. He's a today's player in terms of puck possession. He's a big plus on the power play. That's pretty obvious. But I was impressed with their 5-on-5 game and their dedication to Rod's system and how hard they want to work. And when that team wants to work because they're prepared by that coach to skate and skate relentlessly, they're hard to play against.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program, Canes and the Flyers tonight. The truth is that there are very few games all year long where the Hurricanes are not prepared to outwork you. And they have enough skill to not only outwork you, but beat you with it. Sometimes they get away with it. They have in the past. Spoke to a friend of the program, Michael Leboff, yesterday. By the way, he and his wife are expecting another child. So not that he's listening, but for those people who know of Michael Leboff, you might want to reach out to him and congratulate him. But he thinks that this team is super good. And all of the numbers suggest that the Hurricanes are for real. And he said to me, yeah, Rod's going to win the Jack Adams again, Coach of the Year. Now, he's the same coach. He's been the same coach every year. Same coach. He's only been even a finalist once. He won it, but he hadn't been a finalist the other years, I don't believe. Year in and year out, he's the same.
He'd win every year in our books.
Well, yeah. I mean, to me, he's the best coach in the league.
Yeah.
But I understand that until you win a Stanley Cup, in some people's minds, you can't be. And I get it. You know, Mike Sullivan of Pittsburgh, I think, is a great coach. They've struggled the last several years. John Cooper is a great coach. And the answer to the question probably is John Cooper is the best coach in the league. But because Cooper is just an absolute brilliant hockey coach. That's why Tampa, by the way, even though Tampa does not have a great team, they do not. They are off to a dynamite start. They didn't play well in the opener here. They won thanks to 17 seconds of power play time. But they know what they're doing. They also have a fairly good goaltender. Andrei Vasilevsky can play.
That helps.
We have there are two polls that I put up, actually up. I meant to say this. Earlier today, as I was waiting to go on with Mac and Bone in Charlotte, and hi, Charlotte, I put a poll up. Who should be the Panthers quarterback against the Giants in Germany? Bryce Young, Andy Dalton, Jake Delhomme. So, surprisingly, Bryce Young is running away 55% of the vote. Maybe not surprisingly, Andy Dalton is not second.
Wow.
Jake Delhomme is second. They love Jake.
I could get down. I do love Jake. Old school Panther fans love Jake.
Oh, I love Jake Delhomme. Big
He's
fan.
Great.
Big fan of Jake
Even
Delhomme.
as a person. He's
fun.
really fun to talk to. He's humble.
Absolutely fun. We'll get him back on. We have spoken with him before. And we are, polls will still be open for another 26 minutes in North Carolina to vote for your favorite Carolina Hurricane. Brian does point out a very good question. If you vote in who is your favorite Hurricanes player poll, it's not a poll, it's a ballot. Do we get a sticker?
Ooh, that'd be cool if there was a little
I need stickers.
I know. And even the like on my shirt, the Hurricane Circle would fit in one of those.
That would be a sticker.
Yes.
Just get one of those.
With a check mark in the middle.
551 people have been exit polled, and yes, the young demographic has definitely come out. So you have, again, 26 more minutes to vote at A Gold Fan on Twitter. All right, Wall of Sound time.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
Duke beat Maine. It was the debut of Cooper Flagg, but not just Cooper Flagg. Common Malawash. We've got Con Knipple, who is going to be a problem for the rest of the Atlantic Coast Conference. Here's John Shire after the win.
For us, it was a good first step. I thought there's a lot to clean up and plenty to get better at, but I like the effort. I thought to come out that initial 8 minutes was really strong, and then give Maine credit because look, Chris does a terrific job with those guys. Very disciplined. They make you work late into the shot clock, so the sustained effort you have to have, defending, and then coming back and running good offense. I didn't think we did that consistently, but there's some really good things, for Cooper and Con, their first game to play the way they did. Thought was really good. And I thought Tyrese, even though he didn't get a lot of shots, just the way he made others better. He had 5 rebounds, defended, made simple plays. I could go through each guy, but look, good first game for us. A lot to build on, a lot to get better at.
I watched a good chunk of the first half. Duke was impressive. Con Knipple had 22 points, made 3 of 8 from three-point range. Cooper Flagg had 18.7 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals. Down the road in Chapel Hill, the Tar Heels saw Elon go on a 19-4 run in the second half 19-4, and take a 2-point lead with under 7 minutes to go. And then Hubert Davis watched R.J. Davis take over.
Well, you need, in those situations, you need guys to be able to step up. It's not just from points, it's also energy, effort plays. I mentioned before, Jay Wash and Elliott's diving on the loose ball, getting defensive stops and rebounds. There's a number of ways that you can make impactful plays in order to help your team be successful. Obviously, having RJ, a fifth-year senior, first-team All-American, in those situations, that's nice to have as a coach, and it's nice to have as players out there on the floor. It's nothing new for him. He's somebody that has always stepped up throughout his entire career, and he was able to do that tonight.
Yeah, RJ scored 10 points. He scored the next 5 points for the Tar Heels. He had a 2 to tie it on the next possession after Elon took the lead with a couple of free throws. Then the next time down the court, he hit a 3. So he just restored order and then helped see the game out. Well, Tar Heels won by 14. I think it was 90-76. I thought two of the best things that we saw from that game were Elliot Cadeau knocking down 3 out of 4 3-pointers. If Elliot Cadeau can make 35% of his threes on the year, North Carolina is going to be awesome. That's what they need. If Cadeau can be a threat and you have to check him at the 3-point line, that's going to make them even that much better. I don't think Seth Trimble needs the 3 to be effective, but he made 3 out of 4 last night too. If those two guys can shoot it, it's going to be fun in Chapel Hill. I mean, then between Duke and UNC, the ACC is going to have two of the best, maybe 5 teams in the country. I think that both of them could be that good. But for North Carolina, I think they need the 3 ball from at least one, maybe both. All right, real quick, North Carolina State hung 2 banners last night. One for the ACC championship, the other for the Final Four. It had been a minute, 37 years, so they hung a meaningful banner. Kevin Keats on it.
What a beautiful night. It's not very often that you get a chance to drop 2 banners. And, for us here at NC State, it's been 37 years, and, man, it was beautiful. I knew that those banners would look good, but they look great. And, man, I tell you what, man, it took everything I had, and I got really emotional. But I knew I had to keep it together because we had a game to play. But, man, it's special. It's kind of like, why do you do the job? And the job is done because you want to see young men have success.
Yeah, and you also want to give back to your fans. I mentioned this earlier. College football, these are like pro teams to fans. They really are. But it's a pro team without an owner. They're the owners. The people who buy the tickets and go to the tailgates and donate to booster clubs or contribute to NIL programs now. These are the owners of these particular franchises, if you will. And it had been 37 years since they hung a banner. It's just awesome. Good for them. Good for State. Good for Kevin Keats. And I think State's got a nice little team. It's going to be fun to watch them develop over the course of the season. Some I think, good, smart additions out of the portal. It's good to see Michael O'Connell still there. And some of the other returning players, I think, will have big roles as they step up. All right, when we come back, the Panthers traded Jonathan Mingo. They traded Deontay Johnson earlier. They are headed to Germany to take on the Giants. Maybe it will be the 3rd consecutive start for Bryce Young. Vashdie Hurt, CarolinaBlitz.com, joins us to talk about it next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Tonight's forecast calls for Hurricanes hockey.
Natchez heads up. Back to Orlov. He scores! A 1-2 punch from Dmitry Orlov. It's 3-2 on Orlov, second of the game.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7.
Now back to Slavin. He shot right on. Rebounds out in front. Chance up front. They score! Here come the Hats!
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes. 99.9 The Fan.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friend Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary. And there's a lot going on in the world, so let me take a little bit off your plate. If you are thinking about buying a house or refinancing your mortgage, but you look at interest rates today and you go, they're a little too high, don't worry about it. If you're thinking about buying a house or refinancing, it's for a reason. Go ahead and do it. Go to Miller Lending right now. MillerLending.com online, but go to Miller Lending, get your mortgage, don't pay closing costs, save yourself thousands, and then when the rates drop, and they will, you refinance free of charge, lower your monthly payment along with it. Miller Lending. That's the best of both worlds. You get a great rate, you don't pay closing costs, and you refinance free of charge when the rates drop, and they will. You can save yourself thousands and then hundreds. Miller Lending on Kildare Farm Road in Cary. They are an equal housing lender, NMLS ID 250-2146.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to hims.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
Hey, bud, why the long face? Got laid off again, like the third time since the plague. You should move back in with your parents. What? Well, let's go to Sharky's. Now that's a good idea. Hey, they hiring? No chance they'd hire you, but Sharky's is my favorite spot, and I just love hanging there. Sharky's it is. We can discuss a new job over a cold beer and the best wings ever.
He's right, you know. No one's gonna hire you. Move back in with your parents. Sharky's, quite possibly the best neighborhood bar in the world.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling. We do the job right every time.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling is celebrating 51 years of trusted service. And to celebrate, get a furnace tune-up for just $51. That's peace of mind heating for only $51. Visit MitchellHVAC.com. Mitchell Heating and Cooling, quality products and services on time from a family you trust. It's hard to stop a train.
The best solutions every time.
Adam Gold here from my friend Dr. Lori Travers at Travers LASIK, and twice in the last week, people have asked me about my experience at Travers LASIK, and I have said, well, if you want 20/20 vision and you want to get rid of glasses and contacts, I think it's a great idea. 919-510-6830, TraversLASIK.com. 2-year, 0-interest financing is available, about 5 minutes per eye, totally painless. 919-510-6830, Travers LASIK, see what you've been missing.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
This is Adam Gold.
What, a minute 53 into the game? Heat of the moment?
Right.
What kind of heat of the moment is that? We haven't even gotten to simmer yet.
I know. Did someone flip him off in the parking lot? Like, what are we doing?
Seriously.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold, Victoria producing the program. Carolina Panthers will be leaving for Munich, Germany to take on the New York Giants. They will not pack Jonathan Mingo into their suitcases. He has been traded to the Dallas Cowboys. Second trade of a wide receiver for the Panthers. Deontay Johnson went to the Baltimore Ravens last week. They moved up, I don't know, maybe 10 spots in the draft to get rid of Deontay Johnson. Vashdie Hurt, CarolinaBlitz.com, joins us on the Adam Gold Show. Covers not only the Panthers, but every single team in the triangle in North Carolina. You are the hardest working woman in show business. Thank you so much for the time. I know you said before the trade of Johnson, or maybe it was after, that you didn't get the sense that Johnson was an issue in the locker room. And I mean, I didn't hear anything about that either. But there's got to be a reason that they wanted him out and didn't really get anything in return other than to move up 10 spots in the draft, because that's really all that happened. What's your takeaway from that one before we get to the Mingo deal?
Yeah, I thought the Panthers were the clear loser in that trade, and maybe from what the actual players said and from what I see being in the locker room 3-4 days out of the week, there wasn't a problem with the players in Deontay Johnson. Now, maybe Deontay Johnson was vocal about the losing that was occurring on the team, and a first-year coach, a first-year GM didn't want that type of vocal displeasure, being said out loud in the locker room to maybe potentially influence younger guys. But as far as people in the locker room, his teammates, they didn't have any problem with him. He was a hard worker, obviously the best receiver so far on that team, on the team before he was traded. So maybe it was just a thing where, he wasn't happy with the losing and maybe even some of the play calling, which is understandable.
Right.
But I'm guessing Canales didn't want to be questioned about that as he's trying to control a losing locker room.
I mean, it certainly could have waited to this week. There might have been more. I mean, they got more for Jonathan Mingo, far less accomplished. That could have something to do with the fact that, you traded him to Dallas, and they don't know what they're doing, and also that he has another year left of team control of that contract, so it's a low number, whereas Johnson is walking into free agency, so it's just a rental for Baltimore. Isn't that amazing that Jonathan Mingo could be so unimpressive as a player for a year and a half, and you get what ultimately could be a pretty high fourth-round pick?
Absolutely. I was shocked that was what Dallas was willing to give up, especially given where they are right now with their own failures so far this year. But apparently heading into the draft, when he was selected, they had him very high on their board, and they really liked him. So they still see potential. Obviously, they think that what was happening in Carolina and his lack of productivity is a result of nature and not nurture.
Right.
So they feel like they'll be able to have him come in and be a complimentary piece to CeeDee Lamb, which is what fans in Dallas have been calling for. And I wouldn't be surprised if he thrives down there. Sometimes a change of scenery is good for everybody. Mingo has always been a hard worker. He just didn't catch on here. And so we'll see what happens in Dallas. But the Panthers obviously believe in Leggett and Coker, whose stock is now rising. And they like their young group of guys, and I see them maybe doing more in the offseason and through the draft to bring in other wide receiver pieces.
Vashdie Hurt, Carolina Blitz, at Keep Blitzin on Twitter, is joining us here in the Adam Gold Show. I'm going to get to Bryce Young here, but it is interesting that emerging over the last few weeks, Xavier Leggett has been very good. I'm like, look, it was a great play for the interception. It's a ball that he's got to secure, but you can also credit whoever that was for the Saints just making an absolutely incredible defensive play. But Leggett has been good. Coker has been such an eye-opening surprise. He looks like a very, very good, let's say, a third receiver for this team. And J.T. Sanders looks like a pass-catching tight end that they haven't had since Greg Olsen, the best of Greg Olsen, because Olsen in the last couple of years, he just wasn't available enough because he was injured so often. So there are three good pieces for Bryce Young to play with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always liked Jatavion Sanders, even during training camp. Because he offered that. We heard about Ian Thomas and even Tommy Trimble. There's such good blocking tight ends.
Right.
Well, who cares about blocking tight ends? That's just not their only job. They need to have that threat in the pass game really opens up things for your quarterback and your offense. And so they haven't had that in recent years. Honestly, I think that Jatavion, just 9 games in, his production is more than what the Panthers have had since 2019 from a tight end, and that was Greg Olsen.
Yep. So
to have that threat, especially in the red zone, I think is great. And they can do without a Mingo. And then they also have Devin Tompkins, who they brought, who's on the practice squad, who is familiar with Dave Canales in Tampa Bay. So there are guys that they'll probably elevate, and this is just a year for them to try to develop and go forward with that youth movement.
Vashdie Hurt is joining us here. All right, we waited all this long. Let's get to Bryce. I mean, I laugh at Dave Canales not naming a starter. I can't imagine it's not going to be Bryce Young, so let's just assume it is. What did you make of the progress from the game against Denver to the game we just watched against New Orleans?
First, I want to say I hated the fact that he had an opportunity to just name Bryce. I mean, he benched him on a Monday. You could have named him a starter on a Monday. The only reason why I feel like low-key, though, he didn't do this is because maybe he's a piece a tradable piece. Maybe he's somebody that might, Dan Morgan, maybe fielding some calls. And if the price is right, and it's going to have to be a high price, then he could be a guy that they potentially move if Canales does not believe in him. That's right. The only reason why I think they don't name him starter on Monday is because they wanted the trade deadline to go by. But he's taken a step, and he might not verbally say that he's been inspired by the benching. I'm seeing more dog in him, and that's welcomed. To me, the big thing was there was a set him down in the fourth quarter, and the Panthers had an opportunity to go up. And Canales called like 3 screens in a row. Yeah. And the fans booed. And after that, Bryce went to him, and you could tell that they were having a conversation on the sideline. And I'm sure in that moment, the quarterback told the rookie coach or the first-year coach, yo, let's open it up some. Give me an opportunity to make plays to win this game. And that's growth, especially for a guy like Bryce, who seems like a company man, a tote-the-line man. I don't want to make too much noise. The coach is going to do the best thing for the team. Well, maybe he wasn't. And in that moment, for Bryce to stand up and what we're assuming is, and Canales didn't quite confirm it, but he kind of confirmed it in his post-game press conference. For him to come out and have a conversation with him, we saw on that very next series, he had his first game-winning drive of his career, and they tried to extend the field by throwing the ball downfield, got a third down pass to Leggett, were the beneficiaries of a pass interference call. So I thought that there could be a turning point for Bryce Young as in his NFL career.
And maybe a turning point from Dave Canales. I have been saying for weeks now that it seems to me that Dave Canales wanted to prove that Bryce couldn't play as opposed to that he could. And because play calling tells you, and like that first drive against Denver, Bryce wasn't awesome. He didn't have to be. It was a lot of stuff on the ground, which it really should be for this team anyway, as well as Chuba Hubbard's played. But after that, it seemed like he was terrified to call a pass where Bryce Young might have to look down the field. Like everything was lateral, or behind. I could not believe what I was watching. And then when the game was out of hand, that's when he started calling downfield passes again. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense to me. But I've thought this for a while, and Dave Canales goes in and out of, I don't know what you're doing here with me, but it was good to see that Bryce got a chance to, get the ball down the field because I think he's good at it. I think the pass to Coker, I guess this is against Denver, the pass to Coker down the sideline was excellent. I think there's something there, but do you get the sense that Dave Canales has probably already moved on mentally from Bryce?
I don't, he could have moved on mentally from Bryce. I don't know if he has the luxury of moving on from Bryce because he is playing better. And also, you have a team He's still the number 1 overall draft pick from just a year ago, and they gave up a lot to get him. So I feel like as a first-year coach who really doesn't have that much experience himself,
right.
He's learning on the job just like Bryce. Let's keep it a buck. I don't feel like it would be completely irresponsible for him to give up on a guy like him this soon. And I think that's where, and I know people don't want to, people aren't fans of David Tepper right now, but that's where your GM and your owner say, listen, we drafted this guy for a reason, and we brought you here to be the quote-unquote quarterback fixer, and you're going to have to play to Bryce's strengths, and this is what we heard all offseason, but you also cannot handcuff him. He threw a dot, that pass that was picked off by Xavier Legate. It was just a good play by that cornerback. That was a dot. He also threw a dot to David Moore that David Moore should have caught, and that would have been a touchdown. So Bryce had some very accurate deep throws, and at this point you really just want to see some type of progress, some type of promise that he can be even just a decent quarterback, because we haven't seen that yet. But Canales is really going to have to try to embrace that and not do things that he feels like, and this is the wording he said, he wanted to call plays that Bryce felt comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
They're not playing for a playoff position. You might as well open it up and see what the guy has.
That's what I said. Make him uncomfortable. That's fine. It doesn't matter. Let him play. Let him learn. Vashdie Hurt, I don't know if you're going to Munich or not, but if you do, have a safe flight. And either way, we'll talk to you down the road very soon. I appreciate your time.
All right. Thanks for having me, Adam.
You got it. Vashdie Hurt, Carolina Blitz, at Keep Blitzing on Twitter. When we come back, Bridget Condon, NFL Network. The last time she was on, we had a differing of opinion as to who the best team in the NFL was. I say Kansas City. She said Baltimore.
And we also teamed up liking pumpkin spice. We learned that she likes pumpkin spice me, too.
I knew that. I knew that going in. So, thankfully, the pumpkin spice season is over.
But is it?
I don't know. Bridget Condon next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Oh, the NBA is back, and FanDuel is America's #1 sports book for a reason, because they want you to catch all the action. And right now, FanDuel giving everyone 3 months of NBA League Pass. All you got to do to catch every tip-off, every buzzer beater, every dunk is place any $5 wager on the NBA and get 3 months of NBA League Pass, courtesy of FanDuel and me. FanDuel.com/AGS. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel is an official sportsbook partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. After 3-month free trial, the full price of League Pass will be automatically charged monthly. Cancel anytime. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
NC Medicaid is for people just like me.
Adults who don't have children.
People who serve.
People who do the heavy lifting.
Child care teachers. Full healthcare coverage at low or no cost.
Doctor's visits, emergency rooms, and prescriptions.
So if you applied before and didn't get it, apply again.
NC Medicaid covers more people than ever before.
Get full healthcare coverage at low cost, no monthly fees, and $4 max copays. NC Medicaid is for more people. See if you qualify at medicaid.nc.gov.
AARP reminds you that November is National Family Caregivers Month. While family caregivers should be celebrated every day, this is a time to recognize and honor those taking care of their loved ones by raising awareness around caregiving issues, educating communities, and working to increase support for our nation's caregivers. Learn about this topic and more by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Psst. Hello there, it's me, your internal clock. Yes, the one you sleep through on weekends. You've probably heard my TikToks, but I'm straight up sounding the bell now. It's almost time to start applying for college. That means you got transcripts to gather, letters of rec to request, and campus tours to schedule. But hey, we've got time, and we've got CFNC. CFNC.org can help us plan, apply, and pay for college. We got this, trust me. Just visit CFNC.org to help us stay on time.
Some call it overplanning. At Alternative Power, we call it foresight. Be prepared for the next power outage with a Generac home standby generator. After sensing a power outage, a Generac generator automatically restores your home's power, whether you're home or away. Generac, it's not just a generator, it's a power move. Act now for a free 10-year warranty on a Generac home standby generator. Terms and conditions apply. See more at alternativepower.com. Alternative Power, North Carolina's Generac experts.
Are you looking for a 2-year hands-on agricultural degree while still gaining the university experience? I'm Lee Ivey, Director of the Agricultural Institute at NC State University. We offer 6 associate's degrees that span the agricultural industry and set our students up to meet their goals. Come live on campus, learn on our farms, and be a part of the NC State community. Learn more about our program online by searching NC State Ag Institute. 2 years, 1 degree, endless possibilities.
Have you ever noticed how little things can make a big difference? Here's an idea. Why not greet everyone you see today with a big smile and a friendly, "How are you today?" Maybe this small gesture may turn around an otherwise bad day. You never know how much difference a friendly expression can make. Who knows? You just might make a new friend. In North Carolina, we have always taken pride in being kind to everybody. Little things do make a difference. Makes you feel better. Makes everyone around you feel better.
This is Adam Gold.
Dan on Twitter, who you got? Robert Plant or Elvis Presley? That is actually very difficult because I don't want to disrespect Elvis Presley. I think it's Elvis. It's very, very close. And that is an incredible question.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria's here on a very important day in U.S. history as we unveil the most favorite Carolina Hurricanes player. The voting, the polls have closed. The votes have been tabulated. And I said the young vote was going to be a big deal today. Seth Jarvis voted as the most popular favorite.
Happens to be my fave, too.
Carolina Hurricanes player. 37.1% of the vote. It was not a majority. It was a plurality. Whatever I just tried to say. I'm not sure that was a word. Sebastian Aho's second at 29.7%. Jacob Slavin at 18.1%. Andrei Svechnikov at 15%. Don't at me because Martin Necas didn't make the ballot.
I mean, get with it. It's a Jarvie party.
Right,
so.
Nor did Pyotr Kochetkov, but the results of the voting would not have changed.
No.
Seth Jarvis was always going to win that vote. If I put Bridget Condon of NFL Network on here, even though she's not a Hurricane player, she would have won the vote. Bridget Condon, NFL Network. Thank you very much. Sarah Civian says hi and congratulations. She was on with us earlier. How are you?
I'm good. I thought the promise was it would be me and Sarah taking over the Adam Gold Show, but this is fine too.
I am here for that. I would be more than happy to have both of you on video doing the show while I sit here and just smile.
Let's do it.
All right.
Sign me up.
Well, we can work on that.
Okay.
All right. Well, so since you are the the NFL Network here, last time you were on, after we got through talking about pumpkin spice, you said that Baltimore was the best team in the NFL. I said it was still Kansas City. Now, I don't think the fact that Baltimore lost to Cleveland matters to me, right? I really don't. You're going to lose games in the NFL. Kansas City will take on losses in the NFL. It's amazing to me that given the way they have played, some of their injuries and player attrition, it's amazing to me that they are 8-0. It is remarkable. How do you feel about it today? Because I do a top 5, bottom 5 every week, and I have not changed my feelings on the top of the league. I still think it's Kansas City. How do you feel today?
You really want me to like Kansas City?
No. You don't have to.
I just have something against them being from New England, but I will say I was impressed last night. The DeAndre Hopkins addition has been incredible. I mean, I think he completely elevates their team. For them to find a way to win last night, I was impressed. I'm not going to lie. I was also impressed with the Bucs, though, to be doing it without their top three receivers. Baker Mayfield deserves a lot more credit than we're giving him.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, Kansas City, I think just because once you win and you win so much, there's something about your confidence level that even if you don't have the guys on the field, it's like what we saw with Tom Brady, right? Like, they make plays happen because you've been there before, you know what it takes, and it's just like this confidence that doesn't exist in, let's say, the Panthers locker room because they haven't gone through those kinds of experiences before. So I think Kansas City is not going away. It's going to be a team that we're talking about, and they potentially could win the Super Bowl, okay? I'll admit that. And, you know, there's a very good chance that the Chiefs will win the Super Bowl, but there are other teams that on paper have more talent. Kansas City has the full package, right, because they have the experience. But there are other teams like the Baltimore Ravens. When you talk about Zay Flowers, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, that trio, man, I wouldn't want to face them as a defense. And yes, they lost to the Cleveland Browns, but the AFC North is so weird. And I feel like these divisional games can, no matter how bad or how good teams are, for whatever reason, when you play these divisional matchups, they're always close. And so I think that was the case there. I think we saw more of what the Ravens actually are this past weekend against the Broncos. It'll be a good test Thursday night against the Bengals. And then you look at other top teams. How about the Commanders? Because I love them, and they just got Marshawn Lattimore. And I know we've talked about my husband's a Commanders fan. I sent him that, and he's like, we finally have a lockdown corner. Like, the way that they just continue to elevate their roster and find ways to win, that is a fun team to watch. Jaden Daniels is one of the best players in the NFL, not just one of the best rookies. Yeah. I definitely think they have a solid chance of playing ball in February.
We're having the same conversation about Jaden Daniels now that we had about C.J. Stroud last year, mentioning MVP in the same sentence with the quarterback. I'm not against that conversation. He has been fun. I went to school in the D.C. area, and this is, of course, a long time ago. It was with color TV, but it was still a long time ago, and I've never caught the Washington bug. But this team, and I was there for all three Super Bowls. Like, I was in the area for all three Super Bowls. But this team is way different. This team is so much fun to watch.
Dare I say the change in ownership helps you? Because
well, I was there before Snyder. I was Jack Kent Cook. That's how far back I go. You probably don't even know who that is.
Are you old?
I don't need that. Bridget Condon, NFL Network, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Here's one other thing that works against Kansas City. Not that I need I did need to give you any more ammunition against Kansas City. 8-0, and their point differential is only 56, which means, in a way, they're a little lucky. So and I think point differential over the course of a season is the most important stat you can look at. We could talk about passing game, rushing, all this. Point differential matters. And there are always going to be some outliers. The Saints, who are awful, have a halfway decent point differential for a team that's 2-7, because it's only, I think, minus 22, because they blew out two teams right away. They blew out the Panthers and the Cowboys right away. They have been, worthy of firing their coach ever since. But could it be the Chiefs are figuring this out because, and you would understand this, when you have the best coach and the best quarterback, maybe it doesn't matter all that much?
Yes, because going into last night's game, Patrick Mahomes actually had one of his best games in the season last night. I think he had almost 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. But coming into that game, he had thrown more interceptions than he had touchdowns. I think it was 9 interceptions, 8 touchdowns. Travis Kelce didn't catch a touchdown pass, I believe, until last week, maybe 2 weeks ago. And so when you're still finding ways to win without your stars playing at the level that we're used to, to me, that's the most impressive. And what's scary is that we saw them find success on offense last night, and that's only going to elevate, in my opinion, when they get a couple guys back from injury, and then you add the addition of D-Hop, which just like seems unfair, right? Like, how did he get to go there? Like, I don't know. I'm happy for him though. I think he's a phenomenal player, and I love to see him have success. But this is why it's scary, is because they are not where their maximum potential is going to be for the season, and they're 8-0.
Yep.
Like, what? It's not like they're 4-4 and there's still so much room to improve. No, they're 8-0 and there's room to improve. That's why if you had asked me coming into the season, are the Chiefs going to repeat? I'm like, no, you can't do that, right? Like, you can't have that kind of success. But now I'm like, they're winning without their stars. Like, yeah, they might. It's like they figured out the cheat code.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, the Patriots would, if you had Belichick and Brady, I mean, there was 75% of the battle, and like it is incredible. And also, Kansas City has not done this against like the same schedule that Buffalo has built a 7-2 record on. Like, Buffalo hadn't, of their 7 wins, I'm not sure Buffalo has a win over a legitimate, I guess at Seattle is Buffalo's best win. I love Buffalo. I think Buffalo is a true contender. I think after the Chiefs, Buffalo, Baltimore, and I'm not willing to completely write off Cincinnati yet.
I'm not either. I was going to say that.
I think they're going to make the playoffs, and I'm telling you, if they're the 2 seed, if whoever's the 2 seed is going to see Cincinnati in the first round, I don't want to be that 2 seed.
How about the Steelers, though? Have you even talked about them?
Love them. Their defense is great.
Mike Williams.
Oh yeah, well Mike Williams had to go. When Aaron Rodgers, as bad as he is, when he calls you out after a game, you got to get out of town. That's good for Mike Williams, who fell up.
I love him. I covered him because he was with the Chargers forever. Right. I love him. I think he's a great player. Yes, he's dealt with injuries, but I'm so happy to see him in Pittsburgh. I think he's going to fit in great there.
Yeah, that's a big pickup for them because he's
100%.
a dynamite possession receiver, big target for Russell Wilson. The Steelers are an interesting case because they're so good defensively, and Wilson seems to open up their offense. What do you make of the Detroit Lions? Because they might be the best team in the league now that they added Desarius Smith. They just got in a trade today.
Yep, you see that. You remember in 2021, 2022, when the Rams traded for Von Miller and Odell Beckham Jr. and like it was all in. That was the first time we really saw teams be like, okay, this is our year and we're going to trade for him. I feel like that's what we're seeing this season with some of the trades that have happened, not just today, but leading up to today's trade deadline. And I think that's where the Lions are. I mean, for them to go into Green Bay and beat Green Bay the way that they did, I was impressed. I thought for sure Green Bay would have made it a little bit of a closer game just because I think Green Bay is great too. And so what the Lions have, and they're another, like you look at talent on these teams, and yes, talent goes so far, but there's something about their aura, like their mindset, this toughness, this Dan Campbell that has taken them further than they should have been in certain games. And so I think I would love to see them make the Super Bowl. There are some areas of concern, but I think that they're figuring it out as the season goes on, and they're definitely going to be a team we're talking about in January.
Oh, I don't think there's any question about that. 7-1, and not only that, and I think they have the best point differential in the sport right now. Over 100 to the good, but their 3 road wins. And I look, Dallas is bad. I'm not even arguing that Dallas is that good a team.
What's going on with them?
When you go to Dallas and you hang the number you hung on the Cowboys there, when Dallas had to win that, they also won at Minnesota and at Green Bay recently. So, Detroit is absolutely amazing. What's wrong with Dallas? I mean, I think what's wrong with Dallas is the general manager needs to be fired. Will the owner pull the trigger?
Why are we continuing to give Dallas the attention that we do year in and year out? I don't get it.
Well, It's because it's Dallas. They're America's team, Bridget.
But what have they done in 30 years?
They have made a lot of money.
Okay, fine.
No, I'm with you. It just shows you that professional sports is not necessarily like a merit-based entity. Dallas has status. That's where Dallas is. They've got the star. They used to be great. They haven't been in 30 years, but it's still, they've got around the league. They probably have more casual fans than any other team. That's why.
Yeah. Okay, fine.
I'm with you. I'm 100% with you.
Like, everybody cut off the Patriots once we got bad. So what?
Well,
what's the Cowboys?
Because before you were, oh gosh, it's almost before you were born, Bridget Condon, the Patriots were bad just like the Jets. I long for that time.
So I'm not going to look back into that.
There you go. I'm not sure. You'd have to go to your local library to find all the microfilm on that. Bridget Condon, NFL Network at Bridget Condon on Twitter. Thank you for joining me on a very special day.
Yeah, let's go. Everybody go out and vote.
Yes.
North Carolina, like big topic on every news station I flip to.
Absolutely. So
I still had a residency there. Happy to vote.
All right, Bridget. Take care. I'll talk to you very
Bye.
soon. Take care. Bridget Condon, NFL Network here on the Adam Gold Show. Look, for people who don't know, the Patriots used to stink. Then they got Bill Belichick. Now, they were good for a hot minute with Bill Parcells. And they went to a Super Bowl with head coach Raymond Berry and a team that was unbelievable at running the football and kind of got a little hot at the right time. But for the most part, the New England Patriots history is bad football. I've joked. And Boston people, we have a lot of Boston residents, Boston natives who are residents here in North Carolina, whether you're in the Raleigh area or Wilmington or the mountains. I mean, I encounter them every time I've been anywhere in the state. There are people from the Northeast, specifically Boston, who live here. And you'll remember when the Patriots were bad, and when you talk about the four major team sports in Massachusetts, the Patriots were number 4 by a lot. Not even a close number 4. Red Sox, number 1. Bruins and Celtics, a 2A and a 2B maybe. And I would have even put college hockey or prep hockey ahead of the Patriots. It just was not a big deal. The Patriots weren't any good. Then Belichick came along. They had a 20-year dynasty, and now people are under the impression that this is the way it always was, and it's not. It's sort of like, talk to me about the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls have 8 years. That's it. Their entire history is an 8-year run with Michael Jordan. Now, it was more with Jordan, but in terms of 3 championships, 2 years without it, 3 championships, that's the run. That's where the Bulls, one of the great franchises. No, not really. But that run made it appear different. That's that's modern perception. That is the television ESPN age of sports. So there was a time, you might not believe this, there was a time where Nebraska football was good. Now it's not. Remember that great start by Nebraska? They're 2-4 in still just kind of an average Big Ten. All right, we have time for a quick rewind. Let's do it. It is Election Day. Our first polling of the college football Illuminati will come tonight. Andrea Adelen from ESPN joined us. She covers college football for ESPN, also the ACC. So we started at the bottom. Is SMU one loss, SMU, undefeated in the ACC. SMU looking like they're going to finish the year 8-0 in conference play and play Miami for the conference championship. Are they going to see their name on the board tonight?
Gosh, I hope so. I'm a little skeptical, however, with 2-loss Alabama hanging out there and the potential for them to get in the top 12. And the reason I'm skeptical is because we've been through this before, right? There's always going to be an SEC team that has multiple losses ranked ahead of a one-loss ACC team. How many times have we seen this? Or even Big 12, fill in the conference. That's generally speaking the way that some of these rankings have gone over the years. And so I wonder how much of that factor of SEC strength of schedule, the fact that Vanderbilt is a bowl team and 6-3, and maybe that was considered a bad loss earlier in the year, not so bad anymore, is going to weigh into the fact that Alabama is going to look very appealing. You know, they lost it by 3 to Georgia when they almost could have came back and won that game. So that's what I'm interested to see. If SMU can make it into that top 12 ahead of a multiple-loss SEC team, and I think if they do, that's a good sign for the ACC for now, because the issue now moving forward, at least from my perspective, is you've got Miami sitting there undefeated, which is great for the conference, but then you've got everyone else with a loss. And so if the ACC finishes with undefeated Miami and everyone else that has multiple losses, I'm not sure that's going to be enough to get two teams from the ACC into the top 12.
Yeah, well, Clemson still can kind of backdoor their way in. If they don't lose again. Are
you sure?
Well, if they don't lose again, that means they would have beaten South Carolina, who doesn't look like a bad team at all.
And who else?
That was absolutely brilliant.
She's so funny.
I love Andrea. She is dynamite. Yeah, we'll see. I think Clemson's laundry will matter. I do. I think their laundry will matter. I also think how they beat South Carolina, because we're assuming a win over South Carolina. I think how they beat South Carolina will matter as well. With that said, yeah, the ACC might be staring at just one team in the field because it's controlled by, 12 angry men. Here's my list for the college football playoff, the top 12 today. Oregon will be number 1, Georgia will be number 2, Miami will be 3, BYU will be 4. Then after that, I've got Ohio State as the 5. They actually have 2 credible wins, Iowa at home and Penn State on the road. Texas 6th. Frankly, nobody's got great wins after that, or at least 2 wins. Texas 6th, Tennessee 7th because they beat Alabama. Penn State 8th. Basically, they beat Illinois. There's not much there. Alabama does have the win over Georgia. I have them 12th, by the way. I don't know why I went to number 12. Indiana 11. Boise State 10 and Notre Dame 9. So I don't have SMU in. But again, I caution you tonight, if you're not going to watch the Hurricanes, if you bring yourself to watch that college football playoff dog and pony show, please laugh at it. Just laugh at it. It doesn't matter. It's like all of the polls that we have seen in politics over the last year. None of it mattered a damn. So don't pay any attention to the college football stuff tonight. Victoria, thank you. See everybody at the Canes game tonight.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and the NBA is back. And right now, FanDuel is giving everybody 3 months of NBA League Pass, giving it to you, and all you have to do to earn that is place a $5 wager on the NBA. Any $5 wager on anything in the NBA, and you get 3 months of NBA League Pass courtesy of FanDuel. And because you know me, and how about this? You could watch 2 swing states go at it, the Pistons and the Hornets. I know you might be able to watch the Hornets anyway, but anyway, FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. Make every moment